I want you. You know what I'm saying? Like Uncle Sam. Yo, we have Blood in the chat in Mamaro. Blood is asking, have I done the PoE stuff yet, or am I too busy? Yes, I'm on almost Act 5. I've ascended once. I'm an elementalist. I'm doing some Arcanist brand nonsense right now. And I've been doing. I have a mercenary that's doing volcanic fissure of snaking, and I am, Arcanist brand, cremation, and it's fucking sweet, dude. It's so fucking sweet. I am cruising through the campaign. All right, I'm gonna give Stony a message. Jerry's also here. Lovely. All right, let's give Stony a message here. See if he's ready. Hello, Stony. Good, man. Good. How about you?
It's been all right. It's been a minute, huh?
It has. It has. But yeah, part of it's like I just took a step back from Mecha for a little bit. I stopped streaming as much. Um,
No, it's good. I mean,
but
I'm coming out of a 30-day
I
hiatus.
was gonna
I'm
say,
like,
I saw you took a
yeah,
break too.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw one of your videos
Life,
the other
life got
day,
busy.
and I was like, I feel like I hadn't seen him post in a minute, and so yeah, I checked, and it was like
Yeah,
30 days or something like that. Yeah.
it's been a while. Yeah, life got busy, and I was like, I need to get my priorities straight, and then yeah, I took a break.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Creatively, it was great.
that's what you got to do sometimes, right? Sometimes like taking a step back and then like coming at a piece or at a body of work with a fresh pair of eyes is like just all you need to do, right? I feel like I've always
Yeah,
played
sure.
the best Mechabellum uh after a good long break, you know what I mean? I come back, I have a couple rough games, and then it's like, okay, cool, I've got it all figured out again. Like I'm dialed in, I know what I'm doing. So
Yeah, no, I mean, when I was younger, I used to play chess, and the people that are really good used to always tell me, like, whenever you're stuck in a position, just go take a walk. Don't mind the clock; it's going to click no matter what.
mhm.
Take a walk, come back, and you're gonna have a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah, it's that eureka moment. Sometimes when it's the furthest from you, it's like the closest in your mind, And the have you ever heard that story? The eureka, how it came to be, the saying?
No, tell me.
So I think it's I might have the individual wrong, but it might be Aristotle. But if I'm not mistaken, he's trying to figure out the equation for volume, right? How much putting a weight in like a body of water displaces how much water, right? And he's sitting there trying to work on it. He's weeks and days of labor, and his wife goes, "Take a break. I'll draw you a bath." And this moment he sits down in the bath, he jumps out running naked through the street shouting, "Eureka! Eureka!" as he's figured out the equation for displacement. Yeah, it's a fun little story.
Yeah, the best ideas usually comes when you're not really focusing on them.
Yeah. How has
All
Mechabellum
right, I
been
got you
treating
all
you
set up on
recently?
Discord. It's fine. I'm at a point where I know I'm in the 2000 something, but I can't be bothered enough to try to get whatever MMR that everybody else is trying to get. So I have been playing the most unhinged shit that pisses a lot of people off, but at the same time, I'm having a ton of fun. Right now, I am in a Rhino Wasp phase.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
Prior to this, I have been going hard on Spider Void Eye. Actually, that one didn't go too well. I went down to like 1800. And I was like, okay, I'm going to drop the Void Eye. And I bounced right back up. But now that the Void Eye has been buffed once again, so I'm going on to that route one more time. But I'm having fun. Like, MMR is cool, but I'm having fun with just trying unhinged stuff. I've been loaning first turn. I've been getting charge shot first turn.
Crazy. Oh
Cost
man.
control is my favorite because I get to do all this stupid stuff. It's nice. It's nice.
It's so cool that you bring up Rhino Wasp. I've been seeing a lot of players play around with this. Chris Roxas, for example, and same with Cheese Mechabellum. They've been
Cheese
really
is like the master. I was told. I
he's
actually
fun.
got this from Raging, and Raging was like, if you want to seriously do this, you need to watch Cheese because Rojas, like Chris Rojas, he plays Rhino Wasp when the opportunity presents itself, but Cheese forces it every game. So watch his stuff and then you'll learn. So I'm trying to learn.
Oh yeah, no, and wow, yeah, Cheese is doing some crazy stuff, man. I look at his boards and I'm like, okay, I mean, this seems defendable, but I mean, he's cracking some very solid players. Like I saw him take down Zemp.
Oh
So
yeah. And a
I
lot of 201 players don't know how to deal with cheese. Not cheese, rhinos. Like I've had a lot of luck with 201. 501, not so much. Everybody seems to know the proper counter to rhinos.
hmm And I'm gonna be honest, it's gotten me a couple times, man. If you're not confident in your response, you're gonna like waffle a little bit. That's all the rhinos need, man. Once those rhinos get in and they get a couple levels, the game gets pretty hard to defend.
Oh yeah. It's a game about faith. I think on both sides too. Like for the Rhino player, if you half-ass it, you never get to the critical mass and you just die.
hmm
So sometimes you just gotta hang in there until you get that triple tech Rhino on all four angles, and then you'll feel better because you'll start crushing.
hmm All right, so I've got the schedule for you today. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but our
Yep,
first
I have it
game.
opened.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, our first game tonight is gonna be Park '09 versus Fort Build. Have you been? Are you familiar with these players? Have you caught any of their games before?
I played Park a couple days ago. Fort Build, I haven't seen him in a long time. I know he was pretty solid in
hmm
standard, I believe, but I haven't played him in a long time. Park, that was a standard game, but I wasn't sure he was like a standard player. I feel like he's got the tempo management pretty well. We'll see. I mean, any background stories? I mean, I'll just let you say on stream because if you did your research, you know more about these two players than I do.
Yeah. So, truth be told, Fort Build is like my favorite streamer right now. He does like the stream. And if I were to pin a play style on him, I would say he's the thinker. He is, you're allotted what, 100 seconds for deployment or 90 seconds for a deployment round. And he uses that up almost every time. And it's so diametrically opposed to how I play the game. I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen this position before. I just do da 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 da. Okay, end turn. You know what I mean? Like, and he's sitting there and he's walking himself through the lines, very methodically, kind of breaking down the board. And it's given me a lot of pause in my games now. I find myself actually running up to the wire quite a bit, and that's the case with Fort Build. But for Park, I've done some in-houses against him, and um the only games I really get him or get over on him is like he does something that's weak to hackers. Every other game, he is mercilessly beating me to death. And it's like, and it's from any range, man. It's like standard. It's like that, like stagro, mid range. I'm not sure how you want to call it. And then sometimes he'll just aggro me and kill me. So yeah, I think we're gonna have some like this is gonna be a really good game. I'm really curious to see how Fort Build breaks down the board and how Park tries to get in.
Yeah. I mean, for thinkers, that reminds me of Cast, who also takes forever to pick a card. It's just like waits for like 20 seconds to pick a card. Um, we'll see. I mean, thinkers typically are very precise and efficient with their deploys. But it sounds like Park also is in that realm, because if he is beating you at all ranges, he knows what he's doing. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
will
start
you
sending out some
be
invites right
inviting
now.
everyone? Sweet. All right, I'll let you lead. And I will be your support. So you'll do the intro and all that stuff. And whenever you want, toss the mic back at me and I'll jump in.
Awesome. One sec. It looks like I'm missing Fort Build on my friends list, which I feel like I thought I double checked this, but I guess I did not.
We will find out in a bit. Let's see, Fort Bill. Do I have Fort Bill? I might. Fort Bill. I
There we
unfortunately do not,
go.
but I will. There it
Perfect.
is.
Okay, I'm gonna just let the other streamers know that we are. I'll just make a ping, I guess. I'm just gonna let everybody know that we are ready to start moving forward with the first round. And just a sec. Okay, this should be at any moment now, once Park is ready to go, round one of season 2 of day 1 of Mechabellum Mini Masters. A true mouthful there. But what we have for you here today is a tournament for the 1.8 to 2.2K bracket range of MMRs. The idea here to bring some light or shed some limelight onto perhaps maybe some unknown names to the wider general audience, but some beloved names to the people that are in the know. Park here, obviously, like we're both players well above 2000 MMR here, or at least able to play well above that rating. We have the thinker versus the constant pressurer. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out. Let's see what these packs look like. Oh wait, no, we're gonna have a spectator delay. So, Stony, do you want to join me for the, the conversation about the spectator delay here? Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I recently played Park. He beat me in a standard match. I think he like the feeling I got from Park is that he knows his fundamentals really well, and I'm not just talking about direct unit counters. I'm talking about certain combinations in those situations. I think that is really for a lot of players that's currently stuck in the 1500s. You're kind of getting out of the counter game and you start getting into the positional game. You start to realize that sometimes in order to make your carry unit work, your first group of chaff is not enough. You're going to have to line them up. Sometimes you have to make sure that you are mobile beaconing certain units in the right position so you can snipe that wraith with that marksman, right? And I feel like that's something that Park is very aware of,
Mhm.
at least from the game that I've had with them. With Fort Build, I mean, what do you think, Clint? How does Fort Build play?
Goodness, he loves to take his time to really think through his turns. I'd be shocked if he ends his turn and there's 10 seconds left on the clock. Usually he's running it up to the last 1 or 2 seconds. And what Fort Build has been doing a lot of, at least in the weeks prior when he was practicing, was a lot of Abyss centered play. And I really think a lot of the meta is focused
Interesting.
around that, right? It's like this play Titan or be prepared to play against Titan. But today, right, we had a patch drop, and now we've had what
Hmm.
Void Eye get buffed over the course of 3 or 4 patches,
Hmm.
like 6 or 7 times now. So I'm curious to see if that'll shake today up a bit. We got our first packs though.
All right, for Fort Build, it looks like a pretty aggro heavy pack, all four of it. And Park decided to go with the giant spec with the sledge and the marksman. Is Ford a aggro player?
He likes to play a little bit more mid range. I would say leaning towards standard. Um, he has aggro before, but it is pretty atypical. Okay.
All right, so we got Park starting as a giant spec and Fort starting as a rhino spec. Both have sledgehammers. However, Fort does start with the arc lights, which means the chaff clear is going to be pretty good, and all he really needs is probably a pair of marksmen. Or since the Void Eye has recently been buffed with the damage, he can very well go with Void Eyes as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about that quite a bit. He was offered of a Void Eye pack, did not take it. So maybe he's not feeling too confident even with the recent buffs. But I do love this Rhino spec arc sledgehammer setup. Arclight's right so strong in the early rounds, mainly because of how strong crawlers are, but also sledgehammers with field maintenance can become a real issue for a lot of comps to deal with as the rounds progress.
I'm pretty surprised that Parker just went with the chaff. I guess no, I'm actually very surprised because Fort Build has a very strong round one chaff clear, and that
Oh yeah.
if I were Park, I mean, I'll probably just throw down either another sledge or just more marksman, right? Or probably like an arc light here. I
Yeah.
feel like these chaff would just get obliterated pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would be more
I
inclined to
understand the
drop
chaff
two
coming
arc
from
lights
Fort.
myself, but sorry, I cut you off there. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I understand the chaff coming from Fort
Hmm.
because the only chaff there is really just two sledges.
Yeah, that makes quite a bit of sense. Arclight, or rather, these marksmen got at least one good lock taking down a sledgehammer early on, but we're gonna see the issue that Fort Build's board has, which is that it doesn't have great single target damage. So these sledgehammers on Park's board are going to present a wall that are going to be pretty hard to deal with. It really comes down to the marksman DPS if we can clear out these sledgehammers, but with that tower timing, that should seal the deal.
Now with Rhino spec in a standard play, I mean, there's not a lot of options. Like whenever I do Rhino spec, I like to at least put things a little bit closer to the middle. I think it's okay if he wants to try something a bit more aggressive. He is not entirely standard. It's kind of like a aggro situation. And I
Mhm.
wonder, now that we have the first round of unit drops, if he is going for something like a Phoenix Rhino, that could be pretty spicy.
Yeah. Interesting pickups already. Park went for the Typhoon and then sold it off to unlock a Vulcan and slam that down. While Fort Build, I think, went for a more traditional pickup, at least in the current meta or the most recent meta, which is this free round 2 Phoenix. Phoenix being pretty uniquely positioned as like probably one of the best single target units in the game. Did see a slight nerf, but I don't know how significant that is given the current board state.
Hmm. I feel like with Parks, well, first of all, with Fort build, the Phoenix is almost necessary. He does
Yeah,
not have DPS
yeah.
at the moment, so he is strong with chaff clear, weak with DPS, and he has a lot of bodies on the board, so he doesn't really need the rest of the units from the selection. And with Park, he's fully utilizing his specialist, and he's transitioning already into Vulcan Marksman. And this is where I feel like for a build, if he knows what he's doing, should start pressing the issue with armored rhinos.
Oh yeah, definitely. I completely agree. Right. I I think I was talking to Jerry Hattrick the other day, but he was talking about how anytime someone's slamming a Vulcan, he's slamming down armored rhinos and having a great time. And I think Rhino Spec is one of those specialists that have always had a pretty high win rate, and it's mainly how good that timing is. Right, level 2 Rhino, round 4.
Mhm.
It's a lot of HP to deal with, not easy to kill.
And we're gonna have to see. I mean, he will have to do something right now. Against Vulcan Marksman, you can either, here's even a Rhino card, not that we people often take that card. But against Vulcan Marksman, you either go harder into some type of giant tank, either a Rhino or Fort or Sandworm, or you go air. But it doesn't seem like the board is really set up for air. It does have a lot of sledges. If he wants, he can kind of have ass going into boats, but
Yeah.
that's like 4 turns away in order for it to go fully online. And with already 3 Vulcans on the board, I don't think he's got 4 turns to lose.
Ooh.
How do you feel about Fort's uh, potential reaction to a Vulcan marksman here?
Yeah, so it's a tough spot to be in, right? Because I I feel like one of the things that we're going to be running into as Fort Build is that we're not going to have great uh later chaff clear, as it's probably realistically what's going to happen here, right, is that these arclights are going to latch onto these Vulcans and instead of not shoot the crawlers. What I would really like to see out of Fort Build here is like a no nonsense. If you're going to throw Vulcans on the line like this, I'm going to answer with a melter looking right at it. What are you going to do now? That's what I would really like to see, and that's what I think Fort Build should do. I think it's a little more efficient than going into something like Boat. Um, but we'll have to see. I do like the call out on Boat though. I think that's probably going to be dependent on a unit drop, right? That's where my head goes, anyways.
Hmm. This is a very high tempo play coming in from Park. I mean, we got 3 Vulcans that's on the board. One of them is got photon, which means it's going to soak up plenty of damage from these pair of phoenixes, and then the other one just simply refuses to die. Crawlers, like you said, late chaff clear is not really there, so it was getting in and do some damage. The storms though recently did get a buff, and unfortunately Fort Bill does not run the anti-tank ammo, which could have helped him in this situation.
I'm honestly
He
so
runs the
shocked at how well those storms did there. That was crazy.
yeah, didn't expect him to actually win that round, but I guess those it was at the expense of 2 shield bubbles. Both were popped.
Yeah, that is true. Nano repair kit, another great Vulcan item. Oh, but there it is, like you were talking about, level 2 Rhino. Fort
Yeah.
build.
And this should shut those
Uncharacteristically
Vulcan down
slams this and goes
pretty
for it.
hard.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. These two Vulcans should die very quickly, which means if I would love for Fur Build to have some crawler follow up because those crawlers were just gonna get in and tear everything up.
Yeah, and oh, I love this too. The improved firepower, now level 2 Phoenix over here on the left. This thing is going to be chunking, and I don't really know if there's a good way for Arc to handle this Rhino, right? This Rhino is now making these Vulcans only do 1 damage. Granted,
Mhm.
there will be 2 marksmen spawning behind it immediately, but this is a tank that's not going to die in any reasonable amount of time.
Oh, for sure. I think the plan here for Park is probably power through on the right hand side, and on the left hand side you'll have to figure maybe range steel balls to just specifically deal with the Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
And noticing both players, I think Fort Build has the backline a bit more covered. So if he wants, he can always put a pair of Phoenixes with a mobile beacon for a pretty significant tempo move.
Oh yeah. No, that's a great call out. Yeah, those Phoenixes, that's like a common position that you'll see usually with Mustangs. But with Phoenixes, it makes perfect sense too, right? Phoenixes are, I would say, at least pretty okay at dealing with the flank. If you combine it with a missile as well, right? It's pretty hard to deal with. But like we were talking about earlier, this Rhino on the left has effectively taken no damage, even though it has taken tons of hits. And
Yeah. And this Rhino is unstoppable, but there is a window here. So whenever you're into Vulcan Marksman, at level 1 without Scorch, the Vulcans really aren't that scary, right? Because
mm-mm.
that damage is going to be negated by any types of armor at level 1. But once they get to level 2 with Scorch, that's when your armor steel balls will stop working. That's when your level 1 rhinos will stop working. So we really have to keep those Vulcans in check. Right now, the right-hand sides are winning. And both Vulcan, well, at least one of them is at half experience, halfway to a level 2. And if we keep allowing them to take tower and do all kinds of funny business, you may reach a point that they're just a little too big to destroy.
Yeah, no, you're
Speaking
absolutely
of,
right. Vulcan Marksman loves to do this thing where it'll lose for a good chunk of the game, and then out of nowhere, completely stabilize, never lose a unit, and hit you for like 4,000 damage in 1 round. It's very capable of doing that.
lots of juicy cards here. EM is picked up for Park, presumably to disable the armor. We also have improved Wasp being offered. Is that even a good option here?
I think it's a little too far in the rounds, although I don't hate it, but I think both players are too committed to their game plan. This might be like a gentleman's agreement, like I won't take improved wasp if you don't take improved
We don't
wasp.
take the OP card.
Full use of the undo button being seen right there.
Yeah. All right, here's the Wasp, and here's the steel balls I was talking about earlier. No range, so it's really just hoping to that they will meet the Rhino as the Rhino is targeting the Vulcan. I feel like the steel balls will probably needs to be moved back about 6 squares because right now they're kind of standing in front of the Rhino. And yes, they hurt. They're getting chopped down. But no, the two of them actually
Oh,
got onto it. So that is a beautiful play. Sacrifice half the squad in order to gain victory. And the other side is now having some problems.
yeah. Kind of a brilliant little read here from Fort Build, right? He goes for the photon emission knowing that there was EMP offered up, and it's pretty powerful, man. Not only does it I would say do enough work on the left hand side, but actually just straight up wins the right side. And this is a good chunk of damage. Park's got to be
Oh, for
careful.
sure. I mean, with 1700, he could potentially end the round if he wants to be cheeky with the pair of phoenixes. On the left hand side, the tower is unupgraded, which means he could certainly do something with the phoenixes. Lay them horizontally so that even the spawning marksman for that level 1 Vulcan won't even touch it, and just mobile beacon.
Yeah, completely agree. I think another thing regarding mobile beacons here that Port Build could even angle shoot for is imagine a group of crawlers just mobile beacon straight in to like this middle marksman. I think it would cause a crazy amount of havoc. I don't really know if
Oh, you're absolutely right.
there would just be really no great chaff clear, right? And these are the only real single target. I mean, we have steel balls for sure, but not not a great spot. Oh man, and he reads the missile play. Port Build is one step ahead, I feel like, of Park right now, and is able to keep the pressure on by just predicting the next move and keeping the tempo up.
I think Park did read the lack of chaff clear in the middle, so there's that additional
Mm-hmm.
Vulcan. However, right now we're at round 6 for Vulcan marksman build, and none of the Vulcans are level 2, and that's a big problem.
Yeah. It means that route you're talking about earlier of going into Scorch is basically kind of shut, right? Or at least for the time
Yep.
being.
Yep. And this round is pretty deterministic because you know the marksmen are gonna get stuck on the shielded wasps. Vulcans are gonna get stuck on armor rhinos. None of the units are actually shooting at what they're supposed to, and the steel balls. I mean, they're the MVPs of this game. So if they can get enough units
Yeah.
or get the rhinos, then we should be okay.
Oh
Because right now there's no more
man.
DPS left, right? Except the Phoenixes. Oh, and one of them Rhinos did make it to tower.
The Rhino
Disaster.
was that was some cracked pathing. It walked down the middle, killed like a level 3 marksman, killed a level 2 marksman, killed a sentry missile turret, and then blew up the tower. Pretty unfortunate for Park, but like a wonderful little move there from Fort Build. He's created so many problems, and basically wherever there isn't a steel ball is where these rhinos are getting in, and this is going to create a lot of stress and a lot of pressure for Park to answer. Right, you only have 2 deployments per turn usually.
I think the saber tooth would be a great option here for
Oh,
Park if we were to
definitely.
take it. Take double shot and just put it in front of each Rhino so that you can get rid of them way faster than the steel balls, allowing your Vulcan to do its thing. Because once you get rid of that front line, there's really nothing left, right, for Fort Build.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. But we go for Phantom Rays and sell one out and then slam a bunch of typhoons. Interesting. What's your read on this?
The Typhoon is going to get rid of the Wasp so that the Marksman could probably get a few shots on the Rhinos. And once they do, the Typhoons would tank the Stonecrawlers, and then the Marksman with range will snipe on the Phoenixes. So that's the idea, anyways. So the Typhoons are currently pretty disposable because if you die before you get rid of the Wasp, then they're pretty useless, especially into armored Rhinos.
Yeah.
It's that middle Rhino. That middle Rhino is going to do some stuff because there's no steel balls in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing there. There's a missile that'll slow it down potentially, but here's a potential dagger here. I'm didn't Fort Build unlock oil here? He unlocked the oil here and did not use it. Okay, interesting. I saw him click Phantom Ray oil and Incendiary Bomb and thought he was going for the gut shot here. But no, he actually holds oil, but I don't think he even needed it. This looks overwhelming. Granted, there is a tower timing here. Ah,
Yeah, there's a tower timing, and I feel like the oil did kill quite a lot of his own chaff. So there is a bit of a comeback here.
yeah, a little bit of a reversal here. Tower timing really saved Park. Basically, I think the round, and gives him at least one more to go. And I think if Park is observant, and I believe he is as a player, he should notice that oil was unlocked. And I hope, shields up his line in preparation for it. But another beautiful Vulcan item here, an absorption module or barrier.
How do you feel about the Phantom Ray oil? I'm not a biggest fan of it, especially if you are the aggressor. I feel like the oil is doing more harm to your aggression than it is to your opponents.
I would typically agree, but almost all of his aggro here are Rhino Wasp. So I would say like the fire doesn't hurt us so much. If you look at the rest of his chaff board, it's all fangs. There's like one pack of crawlers, I guess. So in this scenario, I think it makes sense. It is I would agree with you though. I think it is a very fine line, and I watch a lot of players screw this up. But initial impressions of the board right now, I would say this looks good. I think this looks good.
Hmm. I think he's getting this oil just so that he doesn't need to buy much half gear into those crawlers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is a cheap tech, and these Phantom Rays are going to be annoying for a very, very long time. We see our first melter coming down, presumably to deal with even more rhinos.
Oh yeah, that melter is desperately needed there. Nothing nothing is really stopping that rhino from coming in, but there is actually 2 rhinos, and now a blender has been added to them. And the steel balls have been pulled away.
Oh no!
On the left side, it's a
Steel balls.
disaster. Do the rhinos get in? 1 blends, 2 blends. Oh.
Oh boy, this is spicy.
But the right side's crushing, so is the middle. As Park found what he needs to stabilize here.
And this is before the steel balls even has range, because once it clicks that button, these rhinos don't really stand a chance anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, he can just go straight into melting points, because with Whirlwind, the steel balls is actually pretty... Ooh, is this...
It's not
oh, it's not
game,
game
it's
yet.
so
It's 150.
close.
My God, that rhino. I think if I were Park, I would start ditching these steel balls and just go harder into melting points. I mean, Sabertooth is offered again, and I always believe that double shot Sabertooth is a great option into rhinos. And instead, it's being picked up by Fort. Interesting.
Okay, Farseer. I'm not quite sure how to
That's a very
evaluate
weird pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very weird pick, because if you're using Farseers for anti-Wasp, that role has already been filled by the Typhoons. If you're using Farseers for anti-Phoenixes, that role's already been filled by Marksman. And then Farseer just kind of there. They have mediocre damage where extreme burst damage is desperately needed. So it's kind of a weird pick here. Not sure if I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I would have been of the opinion, right, with how we have Vulcans kind of slugging up on the front line. I think just like double shot Saber is probably just fine. But I also don't mind just throwing on 2 more melters to answer this rhino issue that we are running into. But I think I love what Fort Build's doing here. These additional saber teeth with range and double shots should definitely be punching up on these giants. And there was a bit of a problem that you were talking about. That oil can hurt the aggressor. Right there, the Phantom Rays fired oil, and it slowed the Rhino walking in. It's brutal.
And it looks like the melting point was indeed the right choice. It was great into the rhinos, and now it's great into these double shot Sabertooth, and now we got 4 giants on the board. Woo.
Oh,
Oh, oh, that's a great first game.
round 10. Heavy armor windmill slam by Park here. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, both players taking a minute to think. Some levels being tossed about.
All right. What do you think would be a gut shot here for Furt build? I mean, with so many rhinos and so many giants, you can't exactly put down things like War Factory. The AA Typhoons is also kind of a problem. Typically, these boss would do great in distracting melting points, but these Typhoons are now leveled. 2 level 2s, 1 level 3, so they'll clear them out in no time. The rhinos are being distracted a little bit, and here's the Abyss. The Abyss is the gut shot for Park because he knows that once you get through that front line, you're gonna have superior chaff clear and also probably some chaff left over. And Phoenixes probably can't touch your Abyss.
Yeah, and what a cool tech to see coming out of the Abyss here too. Disintegration will be slowing down the rhinos, and notably, right, there isn't power armor. So if I'm not mistaken, disintegration's damage gets partially blocked by disintegration, but the slow should still be applied. Yeah, the slow is applied. That's what I thought. Little
Oh,
neat interaction
40%.
there, but yeah, ugh. And there goes the tower
And
again.
also gets the tower with the Phantom Rays. Holy crap.
Oh man.
You're already showing the power of the Giant Specialist, because once you get this Vulcan melting point combo going, it's very difficult to kill.
And Park gets the first win against Fort Build right now. Well played, well played.
I think the problem with the Rhino build is that it's very much a mid-game type of move. It's high tempo once you get it going, but once you do get it going, you need to end the game in like the next 4 turns.
Yeah.
Because the longer it goes, the you start having melting point coming out, you start having range steel balls coming out at level 2 or level 3, and this becomes very difficult to deal with.
No, I completely agree, right? There are a couple plays like this, right? Because of how vulnerable they are, you have to be thinking about how am I killing my opponent in the next 2 to 3 turns, and this is certainly one of them. Eventually, right, your opponent will stabilize by either putting up too much beef and you know good answers for your rhinos, and that's what we saw here. These large Vulcans in the way, enough crawlers just to be annoying, and then a couple good single target melters or steel balls to finish the deal. It's really well played, really nice defense.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Rhino player, for those of you that are watching and you're itching to try this, one suggestion that I will have is to have Rhinos on the flanks as well. Giants have terrible turn rates, and also if you have Rhino, even if they're right into steel balls, imagine having Rhinos right up against those level 2 Typhoons and just have them start with the Whirlwind and killing off 1, if not 2 Typhoons, allowing the Wasp to come down. That's pretty huge. The key to Rhino play is to put pressure in a concentrated area. I'm not the biggest fan of having this spread out formation, which is having Rhino leading with Wasp, but in kind of a sparing formation. But great play for both players. All right, we're going to get into game 2 here.
Okay, we are ready on our players whenever they want to ready up. But yeah, no, I completely agree. One of the great ways to get one over on the Vulcan player, right, is the Vulcans, like you said, have pretty horrific turn rates, and If you've ever seen a Vulcan try to kill crawlers that have gotten around it, it's pretty funny. It takes forever. It's not very efficient. And if you add in
Oh
a
yeah,
couple
for
of
sure.
rhinos in there, it's a blender. It'll get done real quick. But I think another thing there that Fort Build maybe should look at is that he was running boom rhinos, that being final
Mhm.
blitz on the bar. And I think if he's going for that kind of style of play, that wasp rhino play, you need power armor. You can't be getting slowed by missiles and disintegration, right? You just need to get in.
Yeah, for sure. It was a tough call, right? Because sometimes, like the three tech that he had was pretty standard of just a power rhino. The boom is usually for last resort. I typically like to use boom when steel balls get range because you still get the steel balls with the boom. But in this case, I think he was going melter, and the boom doesn't necessarily kill the melter, leaving some problems for the whatever unit that's left to clean up, and that was not good. And that's really the power of the giant players. You can get a giant down to like 10% HP, and that giant is still outputting 100% of its damage, and that's super difficult to deal with.
Yes, completely agree. I think it's one of the reasons why we saw so many adjustments too, like Titan damage, for example, to player HP health, and why Giants got a slight nerf regarding that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I'm a terrible giant player. I rarely pick giant spec because I love, I love tempo plays. I love getting in there very quickly. And with giants, I always overcommit into giants too early and I actually get out tempoed. So
Hmm.
I need to practice my giant. But you used to be a pretty heavy Fort Mustang player, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. So if it wasn't Fort Mustang, it was Saber Stang. Um, in I've kind of come around to what you were talking about earlier, which is I don't feel like I'm that good at giants anymore, and I much prefer the minutia of the medium to like the heavier units, but not quite giants. I love like scorpions, mustangs, sledgehammers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of sledgehammers, we got tons of sledgehammer pats out here, tons of slow moving units, and I wonder if this is going to be more of a standard type of build. All right, it looks like Park is starting with the exact same Unicomb as he had the previous game, just a different specialist. So he is aerial, and Fort Build is, and again, a Rhino specialist with sledgehammers and crawlers. I wonder if
And
they're going to do a rematch, just kind of putting down the exact same units and see what happens.
it's basically like that. Yeah, Park opens up the exact same
Mhm.
way as he did or game one. But I gotta be
Vertical
honest.
sledges.
Yeah, and then the marksman in the centers. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, oh
yeah.
yeah,
And this is a player that obviously knows what he likes, right? If this is a rehearsed position, he knows how to pilot it. He knows what it's weak to, what he needs to be adding on. And that's cool. I really love this draft from Fort Build here. I think this is a lot better positioned, at least in the early rounds, than something like Sledge Marksman. I think uh, I think Park might be running into the issue, right? Especially if Fort Build goes like two more crawlers here, that he's not going to have the chaff clear necessary to to deal with the amount of stuff running at him.
oh for sure. But with only 8 seconds left, I decided to go with the marksman. I was gonna say the crawlers could probably go forward a little bit, just so that you can prevent the early deaths of the first two sledgehammers. And so far, the trace has been pretty even. We do have late arriving crawlers coming in. Okay. All right, good trades, but it's three marksmen versus one.
Oh yeah, and that's not gonna do it.
All right, so Park is aerial this turn. He starts with sledgehammers. I guess the very natural reaction to this kind of start is there's going to be a boat down there, down the line somewhere, right?
I would think so. I mean, I agree with that read.
And if you're going to have a boat down the line somewhere, what do you want to do in the early rounds? I guess you just need to not die.
Yeah. Chaff
So
up and
a
prepare for
not
it.
die, yeah, the not die unit drop, I guess, is just more chaff. So in this case, he's putting down the fans. The storms, I think he was anticipating the storms. I would have picked the storms for either player. I feel like it's just a very strong card, especially if you can lock on to that first, like have two storms locking onto the sledgehammers, and that will get rid of pretty much all the chaff clear for both boards. And now he's putting down spiders. Very interesting.
Ark
Instead of going
loves
for
his
more
spiders.
sledge.
Sorry, that was all I had to say. He
So the
just he
spider.
just loves his spiders, and it is surprising given the board state, but it's not surprising if you know the player. This is probably going to lead into a greater strategy for him. I imagine we'll see probably one more added next round, range, and then maybe a chaff unit being added on as well.
I think the point of the spiders, instead of the arc light, which is 50% cheaper, is to also use them as a tank later on in case he does pivot into the boats. Because
Yeah.
if his only goal was to clear those corner crawlers, I think as two arc lights would do just fine, and you would save the money, allowing you to go boats one turn earlier.
Yeah, I also think in general right now, right, the spider's just like a really well positioned unit. It's received quite a number of nerfs. Its XP rates, right, have been changed pretty significantly. But it still is a unit that is just so good. It has a great body. And when it's combined with something like Marksman, Melter, or Phoenix, I think it just like really kind of comes into itself, right? It's just this great frontline chaff clear unit.
I still think Spider is one of the best frontline chaff clear unit
It's
once you
so
get
good.
range and HE.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like what the only real way your opponent can maintain a chaff board after that is what, like loose crawler, and like that only
Not
lasts for so
even. I
long.
mean,
Yeah.
even that's struggling. All right, we got cards for intensive for Park, so he potentially can go up to level 2, either on spiders, or in this case, I think he just levels the marksman, so he can one-shot the sledgehammers. For Fort build, intensive is also very enticing. He doesn't have enough chaff clear right now, only those 2 packs of sledgies, and that's how he lost the previous round. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start putting down maybe another 2 squads of sledgies.
Yeah, and I actually had Park's board completely misread. I thought we were going to see more spiders with range here. But like you were talking about, what a sick read, honestly, Stoney. You're talking about how there was a boat coming down the line, and sure enough, the unlock has been made. And I believe Park will be posturing to drop one next round. And with the addition of two more storms, it's going to be particularly brutal.
Interesting pick on the subsidized storm callers with already a storm on the board. So usually subsidized, you like to take that card when you don't have storms and you're going up to at least 3, if not 4, because that's how you make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you already have one and you're putting down 2 more, the chances of you going 2 more than that might be slim, especially when your opponent's in sort of a half aggro position. So yeah, for just a very minor detail. So if you want to just go and be happy with 3 squads of storms, you don't need to take the subsidized storm card. You'll be fine without it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. I think Fort Build might have hurt himself with some of his deployments here. He has his storms not really concentrated, and all kind of taking pot shots at different sides of the lane. It looks like it's gonna work out, but it, it just from an observer's perspective, it looks a little inefficient. It looks like it's perhaps struggling a little bit to clear everything that it needs to clear. But Fort Build will win the round. which is,
Mhm.
I'm sure, a small sigh of relief after eating, 1,500-1,600 damage over the last couple rounds.
Now, just as I mentioned last game, Fort Bill's Storms does not run anti-tank ammo, which means their storms do not get to do 200% damage onto these big units like the Tarantulas. But we are at round 4, and that is the blue rhino round. And rhinos are extremely good into spiders and also into sledgehammers. So we'll see where the game goes from here. But since the boats already offered, how do you feel the boats uh, doing against this rhino?
Yeah, I mean, so it's weird because I feel like Park is kind of waffling between this idea of either like spider boat or sledge boat. And I think if he commits to either idea, they're great. And at that point, like we have some really easy solutions in either launcher overload or chin gun. And it looks like Park, if the user interface is not lying to me, runs launcher on the boat. And in which case, I think like the Rhino isn't going to do much. Obviously, round 4 is when it's strongest, so it's probably going to have the most impact right now. But I think long term, right, this is probably going to be a very quick sell. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it gone next round, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. You were talking about whether it's a spider boat or a sledge boat. I personally really like sledge boat in this particular situation because there's only 5 squads of crawlers on here.
Mhm.
If we need even better chaff clear, then yes, definitely take that spider. Wow, 2 more storms goes down, so now he's actually making money with the subsidized Stormcaller card. However, though, he is against the aerial specialist. So if you have this many ground suppression units and your opponent just pivots straight up into air, you might be in a pickle.
Yeah. And I'll be honest. I wouldn't mind so much this line. 6-7 months ago when storms were in a bit of a different spot, but I feel like the unit's not that great, not that well positioned right now. And yeah, Park will demonstrate that by just slowly grinding them down. Obviously, the Wasp here are a huge boon in Park's favor. Nice little tempo play that I'm very curious to see how Fort Build will respond. I think I see the response here in the 3x Mustang drop. Thank you, Bear Like. Very
The
kind.
3x Mustangs.
Yeah.
However, Park should have a very good counter to this. If
Which
I
is
were Park, I would sell out of the level 2 Tarantula, add more level 2 sledges, and click field maintenance. It is
oh
great
yeah.
into storms, it is great into Mustangs, and it's also great into level 1 marksmen. It just, they are so difficult to kill. And with 5 bodies per squad, you're setting yourself up into a great position. And there's the miss.
Okay. Yeah. Efficient maintenance, round 5.
Anticipating Mustangs.
Yeah, this unit's really good at killing them, man. Really good at killing them. And he's got decent enough chaff clear. I think this is like a reasonable line right now, adding on some more crawlers himself. Fort Build will ignite this oil in the middle. I'm not mistaken, this should kill basically everything in the middle. But there is not a lot of great options to shoot up right now. So we'll have to see if this abyss is answered. My gut says no.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have the missiles yet, and there are 4 squads of Mustangs on the board, so I think he's still doing okay with this round. And the Abyss is terrible into rhinos. I mean, you just watch that Abyss trying to hit the rhino, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, all the Wasp evaporates, and that just means all the Mustangs start to converge. Except the ones that are trying to converge are getting stuck on the spider, and the other ones might run into fire. So it's just a very unfortunate positioning. Oh, like they're all gonna run into fire.
Oh no.
Yeah.
This seems to happen to me every time I try to use oil, by the way. I always end up burning like half my board.
Yeah, that oil actually lost him the round.
I mean, there's a Mustang fighting for his life over here. Not gonna be enough though. And
Oh, for sure.
while there's only one unit on the board, right? 500 damage is what that says, and that ain't pretty when you're at 19, man.
We got fortified Mustang. Sometimes I wonder if it is worth taking fortified Mustang just to go against the missiles. They do 500 damage, right? 550. And if you take fortified, your Mustangs would be like what, 1,000 something? So you would survive a missile. We got level 2 Abyss, melting point as the answer. He will need a bit more chaff in front of him because right now it's just storms.
Oh, and that is the big breakpoint, right? Level 2 with swarm missiles. Pretty difficult to deal with. Um, I mean, there is a rhino with armor here. If this rhino is unmitigated, right? If it's not ever stopped, pretty hard for the Abyss to deal with it reasonably. Um, but I don't know. This is really scary that these melters don't even have range. The towers aren't upgraded. They're at level 1. It's very possible for a couple swarm missiles just to come in and tag that, and you know, that's that's the round, man. You're losing that round.
Last round we saw the Rhino getting stuck on crawlers and that's how he got killed. And this round I feel like this is gonna happen again.
Yeah.
Great lock on by that melter. So now we just need to get to the big guy. Is this chaff clear good enough? I think it might, but those wasps though, they are just taking so much shots. And now the Mustangs are all dead, which means the melter will have to clean up all those wasps, and the other one is stuck in the fire. And here comes the tower you were talking about. Oof.
Oh man, and it gets a little worse for Fort Build here now at 809. But from game 1, we saw that Park was in a similar situation and he managed to stabilize. Can Fort Build turn the tables and do that again?
He might need to hit AA on the Mustangs just so that he can get rid of those wasps a little bit sooner. I also wouldn't mind another line of crawler, maybe behind those blue storms. Oh, we got some boom rhinos here. I wonder if they're gonna be deployed on the flanks or they're just gonna run straight up to the unit.
I noticed that last round, one of the issues that Fort Build was having was just not being able to clear crawlers in a reasonable amount of time. He pretty desperately needs these Mustang levels. Will not be able to afford at least all of them. Has loaned, has ranged, has gone for some amount of Wasp play here. Not quite sure how to read this, I'll be honest with you. I think this is maybe an attempt just to slow down the Abyss somewhat.
Well, the Abyss can only attack ground or air, and typically with the Abyss that does not range into a melter that's got range and laser sight, if you can get rid of everything in front of it, the Abyss usually dies. I think that's what he's trying to do, and I like how he's always putting an extra unit on his right hand side or his left hand side because there could always be a second Abyss appearing. So far, it
Oh,
hasn't,
yeah.
but it could very well be. So great log on onto that spider because there's still a bunch of crawlers running in.
Just crazy rhinos running in. and manhandling the Vulcan on the right side, but then getting a good splash onto this melter over here. And here comes the missile
Ooh, and that
swarm.
melter, that melter just not able to lock on to that abyss.
Yeah, to anything meaningful, but
He might
we
still, he
might.
still survived the round.
No!
Eh,
And Fort Build maybe has 100 health here at the end of all this. Yeah, 113. Crazy, crazy.
I wonder if Fort Bill could just take temp range and put 2 missiles down, or at least 1 missile on the edge here. Get rid of that crawler. The missile that's in the middle, because there's like an AM device, it might be harder to hit that crawler. All you need is just to have that melter locking onto the abyss. That's it, right? And it's over. The longer you wait, the more of these backup walls and the backup crawlers is going to run forward, and that's going to be a problem. All right, Footbill said, you know what? We're going to end this chaff problem once and for all. It's going to be incendiary bomb Vulcans. All your crawlers are going to burn, and we're locking onto that abyss. We don't care what you say.
I've definitely been in Fort Build shoes where it's a flood of crawlers. You look at your chaff clear and you're like, I mean, it feels like I should be able to deal with this, but round after round you're not. And you throw your hands up in the air and you just light the whole board on fire and pray it's good enough. We'll have to
Oh,
see
yeah.
if that's what ends up happening here. I'm really worried about these boom rhinos, man. This thing owned on the right hand side. Neat little interaction here, right? Is that heavy armor actually increases the damage of the boom. Little bit of a niche interaction, but
It's a bit of unfortunate positioning. If that Rhino gets to all the steel balls, that is very
oh,
good. I was gonna say if the Rhino did get into the storms, it would have destroyed that tower.
but there was
All
a
right, we got
flank
a
boom rhino on the right. It gets it and blows up all of the Mustangs. Oh, I thought that tower was about to go down, but no, it stays
oh for
up.
sure. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's get a lock on. It does not have lifesteal and it will die in one sweep.
No,
And
so
it
was
gets
the
the tower.
tower. It's just
Tower, but we might get the other tower back and then we can lock onto this level 3 abyss and take it down. Oh, oh, 5 HP.
5 HP. That's crazy. Survive. Survive.
All right. I think Fort Build is definitely getting in on that. I would not mind if he actually puts down more wasps. Um, the Mustangs at this stage, they are really not doing much anymore because of the missiles. The Wasp at least is able to do a bit more clearing, allowing the melting points to lock onto them.
Definitely. But
And for
there's
Park, oh, he does not run Dark Companion. I was going to say a Dark Companion option will be pretty good. Just put down a Wraith, take range, sell it, and then hit Dark Companion. And that's going to help you clear all the things at the front. I mean, at this point, there's probably not going to be much chaff left anyways, since the board is on fire.
shields. I think maybe we're at it this round. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was last, but this will slow down
This
the
is the last
abyss.
round, yeah.
Okay, I apologize. Yeah, but these that will slow down the abyss quite a bit. Park did do I think the most efficient answer, right, which is just Mustangs with a but a cheeky little Fort Build flank in the back left could maybe get a
And a
tower
cheeky
snipe.
Boom Rhino to the tower.
That Rhino is skirting. That Abyss laser does go
Oh,
down, though. Oh, no.
all right. We got our first lock on. All right.
Oh,
Oh,
he does
and the
strike the
Vulcan gets the
tower.
tower. That is huge. And he also got the level 3 Abyss. So now these melting points are slightly beyond the one swipe reach. And they also have suck, which means even if you get the tower, they're still going to take you down.
Oh, man. Signs of life. Park has only lost one minor round prior to this moment, but now takes a huge chunk of damage, almost a third of his health there. Fort Built could pull this out, and it would be ridiculous. Additional deployment slot, nuke being offered up. I
Nuke.
mean,
It's
yeah,
gotta
you
be
gotta
nuke.
take it, man. You gotta take. You can't keep the shields up as the when you're against the Abyss, man. The Abyss is just probably the best shield crack
Yeah,
in the
to get your
game.
shield. I would love to see Fort Built like triple tech the tower and then get the nuke. Oh man, this is gonna be a weird game. I still wouldn't mind putting down some missiles. Like imagine the crawlers at the front just don't exist, allowing these melters to lock onto this abyss. Wow, Fort Bill didn't actually take the nuke. He took the econ card of additional deployment. I wonder if it's gonna put down just more wasp into like anti-air Mustangs.
Oh, interesting. Ooh,
No No tower upgrades, unfortunately. I really hope he will at least get them to level 2 because they're so dangerously close to just dying. All right, here comes the wasps.
do you see what Ark did here? Void Eyes with electromag armor. What an
That's going
interesting
to
line.
disable all the tech on the melters.
Yeah. It's an interesting gut shot line, not one I've seen before. But I could definitely see a world where this becomes a little more commonplace.
Oh,
Now, there is fire everywhere. A nuclear bomb is about to drop. And what will remain?
lots of chaff. That's what it is. There's no chaff clear left. So there's 3 melters who will have to clear all these individual fans on their own.
Oh,
And that's not
man.
going to do it.
Yeah, beautiful play by Park once again, closing out the set 2-0 with some strong Abyss play.
Oof. Very strong game. I mean, aerial spec, not going boats, but instead going for the abyss because you saw the Mustangs. I think that was a great read. I don't think he will get to where he is if he went boats because those Mustangs would just shut him down super hard. All right, so we're gonna have a few more games for tonight. We're waiting for the other brackets to finish. The next game that we'll be casting will be Odyssey versus Odds, and that will be starting theoretically in about 4 minutes, but we're gonna have to wait and see if the other games are finishing. In the meantime, I want to jump into that replay here, and we're gonna try to see if there's a way for Fort Built to claw his way out of the final round. And while Claint is busy setting up the rooms here, all right, we're going to jump to that final round here. We're going to see if there's any options left. I feel like the nuke is pretty significant for both players.
It's so brutal,
It
man.
might even be more significant for Fortnite, not Fortnite, for Fort Built because he got these wasps Fortnite. I'm gonna do a quick round replay here. I'm going to see what can we do. All right, we're going to drop a nuke, and it's going to be right in the middle of all the chaff. I would not mind just like a round of missiles because I know I need to get to that air. Okay. I need to get tower upgrades because that is important. And one thing I would love to do is to put some distraction crawlers all over the place. And we're gonna have more distraction crawlers here.
I'm gonna send you
Take
an invite,
range.
but we got a couple minutes
Yep.
before we're gonna fire it. So
Yep. All right. And I think we're just gonna put some shields down. Mostly just to protect ourselves. And I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna have a secondary missile, maybe for the wasps. I don't think that's gonna do too much. I'm gonna sell that. We're just gonna put down more shields. I'm gonna see how it goes. All right, getting through the front line. Distraction are doing great. Nuke's about to land, and that's gonna take out everything on that side. Fantastic. Lots of crawlers left over. Boom Rhino. Ah, not able to lock on to. Oh no, it did lock on. It's gonna get that level 2. It got the level 1. Hey, who knows? Maybe Fort Build has that one extra round because it really just comes down to a level 4 melting point with suck into a bunch into a level 3 abyss. So he might actually have a chance. Gets the tower. Oh, it dies by like 100 HP. All right, I'm coming over, Clint. Let's see.
lovely, lovely. All right.
I am here, and this is now.
All right. So are you familiar with these players by chance?
I know Odyssey is Canadian, and he's super nice.
So it turns out Odds is his brother. These are brothers.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So we got a little
Oh,
bit of a sibling rivalry, quite literally, here going on. And I'll tell you what, uh, this guy here, Odyssey, said something so funny. I have to find it and share it. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Here it is. Yeah. He tags his brother. He says, "At odds. You may have walked me to school when we were younger, but next week I'll be taking you to school." Boom. Mic drop. Lovely. And we can see here that there is a bit of a discrepancy in MMRs. I know Odds was doing a little bit of grinding. But I know Odyssey.
but Oz was very good. I mean,
Yeah,
Odyssey hasn't been like historically been good, like in the top 100 in division. Pretty much in all seasons. Like he's a really good player. Odds is up and down, I feel.
definitely. Odyssey, I have a horrific win rate against. Super solid player. Will kill you rather quick. We get some interesting
Sure.
packs though. Training spec kind of catches my eye. Sabertooth spec's worth thinking about, but another high tempo pack in this missile spec. But actually it goes for wow. I mean, his all of his packs were stacked, right? He also had Rhino spec, ball, Arclight. It's insane.
All right, we got Rhino, Marksman, looking to be a headbutt, right? And if we're looking at headbutts, I feel like Oz may have a slight advantage just because he's got more bodies on the board. And Arclights don't really do too well in a headbutt. They don't clear things fast enough.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, The real issue, right, is that Arclights don't have the issue where they take 2 shots to clear crawlers, and Hounds do. And that extra amount of time that the crawlers can push the line of engagement further away from, the units that need to be doing the damage is all the better. And I kind of agree with this read from Odyssey here to do this delayed ball aggro from maybe not this position in particular, but I do like this idea. I think it's going to get a little bit overwhelmed over here with this asim push here from Odds, and I think this is what Odds needs to be doing, right? To make a big concentration of force, try to win that side, maybe pull some weird aggro over. And this is going to be hard for Odyssey to fix. I've played around a little bit with this delayed ball aggro, and I feel like every time I play with it, it has to be dead center. On this like outside-ish flank, it gets really tricky against an asim push, and that's what we're kind of seeing here unfold.
Hmm. And the timing of it is not great here for Odyssey. So he'll have to make a choice. He either abandons that side completely and hoping that his units will kind of wrap around, or he will need to do some pretty drastic defense. Wraith is being offered. They go great into the steel balls. What would you pick here, Clint?
Interesting. Feel like what I saw were a number of marksmen in that pack. Was I wrong there?
Yes, there were definitely marksmen in there.
Yeah, that's what I would have leaned into here. I feel like for either player, it's like a really good spot to be in, right? I mean, if we already have arc lights out in the field, the only thing that we really need to worry about is like single target. And if we can remove the
Hmm.
hounds and steel balls efficiently, then the crawlers, follow suit. But I like the pickup of the fire badger here in some capacity. I would have liked to have seen this a little bit more aggressively, maybe. But this is a nice little pickup too from the Phoenix. We'll get countered a bit by the flank. What about you? How are you liking what the players are doing here?
I personally like to take the Wraith here. I think the
Mm-hmm.
Wraith is just a very flexible unit. They're very strong on the flank here. Um, like I enjoyed it very much.
I do like this missile. It's gonna be really high value. Should splash onto the second. Yeah, I mean, almost wipes out both of those steel ball packs by itself. Um, we will have an issue dealing with the amount of crawlers coming in, but we'll have to see if this tower timing that's about to come in here is going to be good enough. I'm gonna. My gut's telling me it's going to be pretty damn good. These phoenixes should go down right
Yeah.
here. But this sort of split up pack from Odyssey should carry the round. And this is a nice little XP pinata for these steel balls. That's level 2 right there. And mind you, right, that was a round where a missile removed about 3 or 400 supply from the board. If that gets shored up, I don't know. That last round was a little too close for comfort with how much value that missile had.
Oh yeah.
Or
I think I wonder if Odyssey would just consider leveling up the tower a little bit and even putting down oil just kind of stoppens a little bit more because he does have the fire badger.
wow, I love this play by Odds with this little mobile beacon crawler group. Um, Unfortunately, it looks like Odyssey also has a brilliant read on what Odds might be doing here. We'll have Phoenixes as greedy as they can be there to take that tower, and then an orbital bombardment to shell that front line there. It's gonna be pretty tough. Usually, right, when you're the defensive player in the case of Odyssey, round 3, what you're looking for is something like oil or a nice spell. And Bombard is one of the best, man. One of the best to do it. Does her little revenge missile, nice little tempo play here, will remove that pack of fangs in front of that arc light. And it's a matter of how fast can we get out of the bombard. Arc light under threats, hounds getting in, bombard now realistically missing, but the tower timing does come in here. Is it good enough? It's looking pretty damn good. Fire Badgers with the debuff do insane amount of DPS. And
They
yeah,
themselves are super tanky, which means the Phoenixes will get to close the deal on those raids. So very well played here by Odyssey.
and I would say this is still a relatively speaking even game. Odyssey's had a couple nice tempo plays that has afforded him a good chunk of life and a good chunk of padding. But Odds' push here is really scary, right? Something not to be trifled with is a Wraith on the line with laser sights, man. And he has some scary techs. He has degen, range, floating artillery array, also colloquially known as 8-gun, and high explosive. So this could be a really scary tool. And yep, we're gonna pick it up and move it over to the left. I love this. Ask more questions, right?
There seems to be a very wide open space right there in the middle towards that tower, and I wonder if it's worth their time to mobile beacon something towards that.
Definitely. Just even like a big dumb rhino, right?
Or just a bunch of crawlers. You put a crawler here in the flank and another crawler facing directly at it and just do a mobile beacon.
Definitely. Both players making great usage of mobile beacon here. Will pull a lot away. At least Odyssey's beacon over here on the right will pull a lot away from Odds' right side push. This is what I believe is known as a Surrey or cast beacon. And Odds going for a little more traditional aggro, get in and get you. These steel balls won't have great answers over here with only the arc lights present.
You know, in a way, that beacon is actually saving a lot of odds units because now they're kind of running all the way around.
Yeah. And now, yeah.
We'll see though.
Oh, looks like they might be clashing
All these
in the
Phoenixes are
fire.
putting in the work.
Or not.
The steel balls might.
And that level 2 Rhino coming in, round 4 for the Rhino spec, really in handy here. Shores up that back right flank, but also gives a big delayed tank. It's super difficult to deal with. Amp Core, picked up by Odyssey. I imagine, okay. You see it go on the Fire Badger. I was going to say, I imagine we're going to see it beef up the Rhino even further, right? A level 2 Rhino with Amp Core. We're not so much worried about the damage, but the health is really where it's at. But it looks like Odyssey is going to lean into this idea that he's going to carry through his Fire Badgers. How do you feel about that?
I like the Fire Badgers. I mean, they are super tanky. The only thing that currently can kill those Fire Badgers are really the steel balls, but they will need range. Now with Scorch, the steel balls don't even reliably kill the Fire Badgers, so I think this is definitely a great move. If I were Odds, I would need to start considering getting range because right now these Wraith are not cutting it with the Fire Badgers. What Odyssey realizes is that the Wraith themselves are superior chaff clear, so instead of going harder into chaff, he just said, you know what, here's a big tank.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
I do find it interesting though, because it looks like Odyssey is basically playing Azure Nix, but from a defensive position. And in my mind, this doesn't strike me as a defensive composition, but maybe I'm wrong. Especially not with like jump drive. That's a little atypical, I think, in the defense. But given the board state, I guess it makes sense.
With the jump drive, one thing to note is that odds also has been shifting from right to left, especially with the selling of that wraith. So Odyssey needed to make sure that the Phoenixes follow along wherever those wraiths go. And maybe that's the reason for the jump drive. And of course, with jump drive, you always have the option of just doing a cheesy play when the opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely. Oh no,
Oof.
that tower is just too beefy.
No, not quite. Not quite.
Interesting. I think this pack is a relative dud, although I do think Advanced Missile Device is certainly a card worth considering. Is there a way to finesse a missile over onto this Wraith on the left? I think you can.
Yes, I think if you put it right there in the corner, it will actually
Yeah.
hit the wraith, unless odds put another pack of crawlers in front of those hounds. So he should be aware of those. But if it isn't, then oh, there it is. It's gonna scoop the wraith. No, that's the wrong wraith. You need the other one to be scooped back.
He's actually going to scoop both, I think, over to the right. He's got double redeployment. I didn't even catch that. That's so spicy. Uh,
And that also explains why the jump drive.
okay. It's very true. Yeah, because it makes perfect sense now. Yeah, because like jump drive, I feel like is incredibly off meta, but maybe that's like a bad read by me. I think people are usually running things like charge shot and range more so than like jump drive, whatever, or even quantum, right? Quantum is been a big tech. Okay, fortress coming down. I think this is the right. I love this. It's Fort Wraith. Oh, this comp is sweet, man.
Yeah, Ford is the good answer into those tanky fire badgers, and of course the wraith is up there to do some chaff clear. And of course, with the Ford later on, you can always click the AA button and getting rid of all the phoenixes.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, overall, a very well-rounded move. Okay, now moving in. The Fords is still struggling against those fire badgers, though, and those phoenixes have such high DPS. And looking at the HP here, I feel like we're about 2 rounds from the first game, end of the first game. We'll see.
Oh, losing the shield here is so brutal, man.
Yeah, I 100% expect Oz to click AA next turn on those Fords, because that is going to change the outcome of the next couple rounds.
Absolutely right. If we can start getting rid of these level 3, level 2 phoenixes with even a couple nice barrages, suddenly the damage projection for Odyssey's board is gone, right?
Oh
It's
yeah.
entirely
Also,
reliant.
we'll love
Oh, go ahead.
the Void I pick up for Oz and just go aerial mode to provide some extra frontline chaff. I think this is fantastic as well. And they also do good DPS into the Fire Badgers. But instead, it's just going to be EM armor. Now, here's the AA. Can we have 2 more forts? Maybe sell something, sell a ball, and get 2 more forts.
Oh, huh. EM armor seems uniquely good against something like Fire Badger, right? Because it's a bunch of small attacks, or yeah, a bunch of quick
Yep,
attacks in one
yep,
second. Yeah.
yep,
Uh,
yep. Just literally taps it, and then they have to move into range.
and they'll never get their attacks back.
Yeah, they'll never get their text on. Yeah.
uh,
Here's the second fort. Also triple board eyes. I wonder if he's also going to get EM armor. There it is. Stopping the fort.
Wow. Wow, lots
All right,
of
there we go.
good
Let's
decisions there at the
see.
end. Lone temp range from Odds, and no temp range from Odyssey.
Oh,
Ports
here's the
chewing up
missile. Oh my god,
so good.
that is a good AA. Holy crap.
And this is going to be a lot of damage over here on the right-hand side.
Oh, that is crushing.
Oh man, yeah. And Odyssey left his Brick of Phoenixes, choosing not to shuffle them around with his jump drive. Looked to be a bit of a mistake. Generally, you want no splash to be occurring there, because once you have 2 or 3 forts overlapping their AA barrages, oh man, dude, air units die so fast. Barrier is a nice pickup, right? It's a pseudo fort bubble, so pretty good. Odyssey taking a minute to think about it.
Odyssey needs to come up with a new way of doing DPS to these level 2 forts. Because right now he has none. These Phoenixes don't survive long enough before the forts die. And if they die before the Fire Badgers themselves don't have enough DPS. And also the lack of an AA into this raid. So a melting point might be on the menu. We'll have to see. The Abyss might also be on the menu.
Oh
Or
wow,
my
yeah.
favorite, armored Phantom Rays.
Oh, interesting. Hey,
Oh,
look at
here's the
that.
Abyss.
Yeah, Abyss. Makes a lot of sense here. Odyssey throwing basically everything at this right-hand push, and it's the correct read, right? This is where all the damage is going to be coming from.
Yep.
Shield.
Level 2 Abyss, 180,000. Ooh, and here's the 8 gun on the raid. They might actually just have enough to deal with the Abyss. We'll have to see. The goal here is for the Abyss to double swipe that level 2 4, at least getting rid of one of them. And remember, Odds still has those double redeployments. So at any time where he feels like I should probably take tower on the other side, he can.
Something notable to mention here is that Odds once again took temp range. Odyssey did not. Will that be the difference maker? It looks like no. This
Oh
Abyss is
yeah,
too
no, this
much.
Abyss is not dying, and that's gonna be game. Good gut shot, knowing that Oz does not have strong AA. And that's gonna be it.
Tough game. But well played by Odyssey here. The nice little read on the board state. I completely agreed with it. Everything looked pretty abyssable. And once the unit hit the board, what can you do, man? The shield
Oh yeah.
immediately gets taken out. All these void eyes probably died. The oil then hits, and your push is completely stuffed.
I really like the dynamic that the Abyss brings to these type of games because in the past, the only gut shot you have is ground based in the form of War Factory, and people tend to prepare for it with heavy anti-ground stuff. But now that you have a big Titan in the air, that just opens up all kinds of opportunities.
I
So this is really well
agree.
done.
I really feel like the Abyss has found its niche in the cast, and I enjoy it for that. I think we're also seeing the beginnings of, at least in some capacity, the Void Eye is starting to find some footing.
Hmm.
Definitely been a little more present in these games. Um, it looks like it's just going to
I mean,
be
that's
a general, like, disruptive little chaff unit in its own unique way.
I would love to see Void Eye finding his place in a carry role
Oh,
I
that
feel
would be
like
cool.
that is kind of what it's designed for. Just kind of like how Hounds and Steel Ball kind of found its footing. I feel like the Void Eye, maybe with Hounds or maybe even with Sledgehammers, could be pretty sweet. All right, here we go again. So we are currently at 1-0. Odyssey to odds.
And I'm wondering if Odds is going to be making some adjustments here. I think with a sharper attack, um, Odds is looking a lot better in that last game, right? I don't know if he could maybe win against the Abyss, but imagine if those Wraiths had a couple more levels on them, and yeah, I feel like it was within reach. Odds does have a nice supply spec, but goes for this aerial spec and Void Eye Sledgehammer. Very interesting. And then we have Missile spec. Did I see that right? Saber Arc. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Surprisingly, Arclight's actually not very good into the Void Eyes, especially with Suck. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
It takes an Arclight quite a few shots to get rid of the Void Eye. Void Eye sitting at 1900 HP, so that's quite a few shots. And the Void Eye gets pretty much more than half of it back with a single shot onto an Arclight or a Sledgehammer. Interesting board. I wonder if some of these Void Eyes should be in front of the Sledgehammer instead of the other way around. Because once you lose the Sledgehammers, you lose your chaff clear.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we the reality, right, is the Void Eye here, especially since we've teched it, is our tank. As much as we think our
Mm-hmm.
Sledgehammers are here, we
Mm-hmm.
need them to be chaff clearing, even if it is 2 packs of crawlers. 2 packs of crawlers. I mean, goodness, crawlers are so hard to kill in these early rounds.
Oh yeah. And now they're gonna get tower, and that is just not a good time. The bad thing about it is that all the sledgers are gonna die, and we still got a bunch of crawlers running across the map.
And I don't imagine this unit has any splash. No, it doesn't. And we cannot clear those crawlers. And Odyssey cleans up the round. It's a little bit of damage in.
Improved Tarantula, great card. But also improve War Factory if you're ready for a gut shot. I mean, both boards could potentially be War Factoried. I think if I were odds, I probably want to put at least a single squad of something in front of the Sledgehammer, and then another Arclight in that corner. Going straight into air.
Whoa.
Using the Specialist perk.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, I like this play, right? If Odyssey doesn't read this right, this could be devastating. However, it is a little scary going into missile spec having our units this close together.
Oh, for
There
sure.
there could be just a random guess, right? Or a little hard read from Odyssey here that could just wipe out a good chunk of our dudes. Okay, yeah, Nods is fixing
I
that up.
mean,
Okay.
they are brothers, so they could potentially have a God read and just put a missile in front of the Void Eyes here.
Oh, I mean, that's an okay missile. Well, I mean, this is the I think one of the big tests of a player. Do you double missile strike or do you space them out? The Odyssey is the space them out player.
It makes sense into an aerial because if you expect air units, whether it's Phoenix or it's Wasp, you can't defend against missiles unless you invest into a shield technology.
Oh yeah.
So you always get value into an arrow spec.
And you know, even though there isn't a lot of chaff clear for odds, there are enough wasps to do some amount of heavy lifting in that department. And odds manages to get one over on his brother here, Odyssey, getting a little bit of damage in, but more importantly, now can flex a level 2 wasp into the round of a potentially a level 1 sandworm drop. I'm gonna be honest. If I see this after I get a level 2 wasp, I am hard committing into wasp a worm for the rest of the game. Like this is the sign to make it happen. I feel like, and that might get me killed a lot on ladder, but I wouldn't blame someone for doing is mainly where I'm going with this.
Oh, for sure. I think the worm could be an interesting play, but one thing to know, both Sabertooth have leveled, and once you get to level 2 with double shots, level 1 Sandworms feels kind of squishy. All right, it's going to be a sell for Odyssey with the level 3 Phantom Ray, and it's going to be a cheeky Phantom Ray flank onto the towers. Mustang is going to be the answer, trying to deal with these wasps once for all, and of course the missile is coming down with the higher level wasps. I like the Phantom Ray play, especially into the Mustangs. Armor is notoriously difficult to deal with if you are the if you are the Mustang player.
Oh yeah. And
I'm surprised that Odyssey didn't take the Wraith. I think that would have been a pretty efficient counter to both these squads of Wasp, and then you can just keep building whatever else you were building.
I'm in a complete agreement with that. I definitely was eyeing that for Odyssey, but I think Odyssey might have made a mistake here. Yeah, I was gonna say I think with the Phantom Rays and the warp in penalty on HP, Missile's doing 5,000 flat. Gets them killed, and sure enough, the flank over there gets completely stuffed.
Now the real question is, how is your chaff clear? It seems pretty good if you can get that Sabertooth.
Okay. Odds, once again, getting a little bit of a cheeky little round in. And this is what you need to do, right? This is how you build tempo. This is how you get these early levels going.
All
Hey,
right, another missile,
very
triple
nice.
missile.
And
now he needs to respond to Phantom Ray.
This line of play, I was going to say real quick, this line of play of triple missile strike used to be a lot stronger in previous batches because of a card called Quick Cooldown, which no longer is in the pool. Kind of a big shakeup. So there is at least some respite for odds having at least a couple of his dudes here or there.
It's kind of a weird board. I mean, I'm liking these arc lights. I think eventually they'll do a lot into this Mustangs. We know that a Mustang getting range is bad news for these Wasps, and I wonder if odds will either commit into some type of armor Phantom Rays or just start selling out of these Wasps and go for something else. But if he goes for something else, it better be something that can deal with this level 2 Sabertooth, because right now on his entire side of the board where that level 3 Phantom Ray isn't, they're gonna get stuck on this level 2 Sabertooth forever.
Both pretty high value missiles for both players here. Going to be removing a lot of credits from the board from both sides. Okay, some chaff added in last minute. I was very curious about that. I was a little worried looking at odds board, seeing just a general distinct lack of chaff. Usually not something you want to ever be doing. We do start to add on some. And how is this engagement going? The Phantom Ray, level 3 coming in, sniping that marksman as they'd like to do. And, oh goodness, the Mustangs are all gone. Meaning marksmen are pulling heavy duty lifting on these wasps, and the wasp will get some nice levels here. That's a level 3 pack of wasps. That's scary, Stony.
And here's Efficient Giant. So if he does want to go into forts, he can. Mustangs, one of them did get level as well. It's kind of a weird board. I feel like Odyssey is just waiting for that fort drop. But with Efficient Giant, he didn't take it. He got Photon instead. And just really want to beef up the Saber. But I still feel like he's probably waiting for that fort and making that big change, waiting for Oz to fully commit into these wasps and to make that big change. Aspen gets added, I think, for some extra beef at the front, but I don't think they're enough into this level 4 Phantom Rays. However, these Phantom Rays will get stuck on those fans for a very long time.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting little exchange here. You're talking about hard commits right as the Aspen button was clicked, and I'm going to be honest, I'm a little speechless. Not something I was expecting to see this game. But a nice little mobile beacon up here from Oz. This is brilliant, right? We're selling out of the other Wasp pack, meaning that we know that the missile is almost certainly going to be of low value if we make this this play, right? At this point, I think the only thing the missile is killing, or it's not going to kill anything. Now with the shield, but moreover, everything is above the 3,000 damage threshold here. Nice little maneuver. I love it.
So the Aspen play is a transitional play. It's when you don't have the money to fully transition into forge, but you really need 20,000 HP unit in front of these Mustangs so that they can scale a little better.
Interesting.
We are at round 5, so by round 7, where you have like 1,400 credit from the get-go, you can get forge and shield in a single round. And I think that's where Odyssey is hoping for, is just to hold out until round 7, whether he's going to get a fort directly from the drop or he has to buy them with shield, and that's going to solve all his problems on the board. And I think it's working well. He's taking chipping damage, right? And he's building up a board that is very, very difficult to counter with the units that odds have.
Yeah, I completely agree, right? There's not a great source of EMP here. I say that, but there is potentially EMP barrage here that could be a real push stuffer, especially on something as high speed as this crawler Aspen kind of push. So I like what's going on here. Some Phoenix is picked up for Odyssey off that drop. Sure, I can see that. Aspen, Mustang, Phoenix is, I think, a reasonable composition, or at least a reasonable thing to lean into. Ah, there it is. Yeah, I was wondering where this other Phoenix went, but there it is in the back left, aiming for a little bit of a flank here. Should get stuffed, as there is a pack of bangs back here.
Wow, taking range on Aspen. Okay, that was not what I had in mind. So now he's not transitioning anymore. He's committing into the Aspen, seeing how they're all some of them are level 3. I feel like this is kind of a dangerous play because we already got range arc lights and they do run EM. So eventually you're going to need to figure out some source of photon before your Aspen get completely shut down. And once they get shut down, you lose that front line, right? You have no more HP left to protect your Mustangs.
Yep. But no, you're absolutely right. I'm a little worried though because I see this cage assembling, and I don't see great answers for really many spots here. The Void Eyes get absolutely smoked. Interesting. Assault mode marksman seems to be pretty decent. His little Void Eye shenanigans. And this Melter has his hands full, man.
I mean, I feel like this is only happening. He was a little unprepared on that side for Aspen range because I was not expecting Aspen range. But he has so many options to deal with his harassment. He can take EM on the arc lights. He can take EM on the melting point. He can take EM armor on the void eyes. Like, so many ways to slice this up.
Oh man, EM
And he has so
armor
much
is
time
so
too.
brutal.
Oh yeah, EM armor is gonna shut it down hard. Just instant loses everything.
Oh man.
And there's
Advanced
even
power
EM
system.
drop in the cards.
Some great cards for both players, right? The Aspen player definitely wants this power system, and the person playing against the Aspen wants that electromagnetic impact. Like I'm kind of surprised there's a lot of thinking going on here. I feel like there's like a windmill slams for both players, but maybe they're feeling a little bit of the
Odds needs
pressure.
crawlers. Oh yeah. I feel like odds probably the best way forward is probably just crawlers, Arclight, EM. Because for every mirror engagement, the Arclight will out clear the crawler pack, for example, in that corner, and then just one more shot away from shutting the marksman down with the EM. It's gonna be tanks.
Oh,
It's gonna
okay.
be EM tanks. And that's something I forgot to mention. Yes, there was EM on the sledges as well. There's EM on every unit on odds board.
Oh no, man.
Everything except the Phantom Race.
I- and I'm gonna be honest, right? Sledgehammer EM, one of the better options I felt like back in the day to deal with this Aspen play, but loose crawlers clicked. That feels hasty. This feels dangerous. But it looks to be pretty decent given the board state. There are a number of more arc lights being added on, so maybe it is okay. But oh, beautiful insta lock for this melter in the middle does take out that level 3 saber. But yeah, these crawlers just can't
Oh,
be
gets the
stopped.
tower. Wow, just boating on him. And I think the loose crawler is a great option here. I mean, they're still shooting at them stupid crawlers.
Yeah.
Wow. It is where Aspen start to get scary is when they hit level 5.
Oh yeah. I mean, at that
And
point, right? They
they're
are fortresses, but with a bigger splash. Portable shield, nano repair kit, both great options.
yeah. Where's the chaff, odds? Come on, you need more than just 4 packs of fans here.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, we would think fangs aren't that great at clearing crawlers, but fangs are actually pretty darn okay at clearing out loose crawlers. So the addition of a few more fangs here, potentially something like portable shields on them, would be pretty decent, right?
Oh yeah. I would love to see portable shield and just like 3 squads of fans. The melting point, I guess the melting point is still required into those 2 Sabertooth. Oh, is that improved? No, it's just a blue card, just a regular War Factory.
Well, I mean,
Hmm.
it is hard to kill, but I'm I'm worried because so are all these crawlers.
But is that really better than 3 squads of shield defense? I don't know. Debatable. I mean, these marksmen, they do what? Level 5, 28,000 damage per shot? I mean, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, definitely. Right. And it's not an armored car. It's not even a photon car. So it is killable. It's crawlers we just can't deal with, man. There's too many.
You can't deal with them. And you're parking the War Factory behind the tower, which means you're going to get towered. And once you get towered, I mean, it's just dead, right?
Yeah, it's dead instantly, as a matter of fact. So brutal. Yeah, and Triple downing on these assault mode marksmen goes for elite marksman on top of it all. And that is a
Are
crushing
we
victory.
are we hitting the point of no return because these marksmen are just way too high level? I mean, even the fortresses now, they don't care. They two shots the fortress.
Yeah, I don't think there's really much you can do. Maybe there's a world, right, where we can like missile out the crawlers, go for like a quick little double shot, like scorpion cheese, and quickly turn to face the front. But it's looking dire. I don't think this tarantula play is gonna do it either. It's gonna help, but yeah,
Oof.
interesting. I feel like Wraith would have been the better answer here. Like Wraith, range, 8-gun, pray we can slow down the crawler push here, right?
Double War Factory, still not leveling that tower. Not that it matters. I mean, I'd love to see the War Factory to be a little bit more full, or at least get that mobile beacon. Not sure if range is required here. I think launcher overload would have been a better option.
Yeah,
Just get a mobile beacon and scoop that blue War Factory a little bit forward.
yeah,
Degen rate is going to reduce a lot of things here. And Photon is off cooldown. This is a devastating round.
yeah. I mean, we have Photon and Degen, both great abilities that favor the attacker here, and we're gonna see how good it is right now as Odyssey is getting in. I completely agree with your read earlier. I would have loved to see launcher overload and these not these fortresses, these war factories duking it out on the front line, and that tower is gone. War factory at level 2 is
That's
gone
gonna
in the
be all she
blink of an eye,
wrote.
man. It's gone instantly. And Odyssey
Uh,
will clean it up at 2-0. Nice try to odds. Um, but that is a
we don't.
brutal push.
Yeah, we don't typically see Aspen play at this level, but damn. Like once you get to that scaling level 5, oh my god. What are you gonna do about this? I'm actually gonna jump into replay real quick. We're gonna see what will happen if I actually use launcher and move that fort up just a hair.
I gotta
All right,
catch
let's
this
see.
game real quick that is over on Amarok's stream. Pull it up over here.
Oh,
It is
absolutely.
long story short, Mr. Bitter is giving Red Scare a run for his money. It's crazy, man.
No kidding.
Mr.
All
Bitter
right, we'll get
is
it.
perfect right now. And Red Scare of 94 is at 1552. Woo!
Okay, we're gonna jump into that game. Where are you? Oh, I still have rest here. Let's go.
If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Bitter had a very
Holy!
compelling game against him round 1 as well. And Red Scare managed to stabilize at very little HP. Maybe this is a repeated game 1. But if you're Mr. Bitter here, you're walking away with taking Red Scare to this close, to beating him. You are wondering what else, what little things can I adjust to take it home in the future, right? Gosh, there's so much beef on the ground, but these phoenixes are deleting everything. What? So are the
Those Mustangs
riots.
are gonna be the real MVP. They're gonna block those riding shots.
Charge shot phoenixes. Where have you been all my life?
Yeah. Okay, single riding, two shotting, one shotting. Level 6 marksman doesn't even die to a shot of riding. Oh my god. Alright, on the board. Rescue on the board. Okay, armor worms. Mechanical division could also be spicy into that board.
Oh yeah, you're totally right. Ow. Oh man. I love what Bitter is doing here. I think this is exactly what you need to be doing, right? Once you see those Vulcans come down, you need these worms showing up and being a nuisance. But Fort AA. Oh no. Are we is this a
Goodbye,
giant spec?
Phoenixes.
Giant spec with efficient giant manufacturing? Oh man, Red Scare is having a good time over here.
Now, Bitter does have quantum, so he can somewhat answer Fort AA. A little bit expensive, but at this point, with this many Phoenixes deployed, you just need to kill him once in a good round.
Very true.
Oh, that fire. Goodbye, Mustangs. Good knowing ya.
Oh no. This is a scary situation. Not much left. And at least for Bitter's board, but there is so much left, and it's all giants, and it's all taking huge chunks out of Bitter's HP pool. Can Bitter close it out? Both players
Ah,
need
and it's
one more
orbital.
round. Yeah, it's much better for Red Scare here.
I think Bitter will have to click Quantum if he wants those Phoenixes in play. Level 3 Vulcan, very difficult to kill. A bit of a cheeky play in the back corner.
Oh, yeah, it's a good move. Not going to be, I think, too high impact. Could be shut down pretty
Yeah.
quickly. I mean, but it is removing at least some chaff from the board. But there's really no great way to keep these phoenixes safe.
Taking Shield instead. I don't like Shield. I much prefer Quantum because the AM missiles, they tend to cluster. So Shield just means you will take on even more missiles.
Yeah, I agree. I think quantum is a much better tech in this scenario as well. I feel like it's also just like kind of okay against Raidens, right? Raidens have such a long windup per shot. And they're not always the most efficient when it comes to removing a singular unit or multiple they can't shoot up
Oh
and down.
no. Arclight stuck on that level 2 fort. Come on. Phoenixes, it's your moment to shine. I guess that level 2 fort, working on the second level 2 fort. Left side is actually looking decent. Never mind. The Raidens on our end is no longer
Yeah.
decent.
Tough spot to be in. But man, what a performance from Bitter. I don't think you can feel bad. I mean, it's it's
No,
600,
that was a very good
700
attempt.
almost MMR difference, right? And he stepped up to the plate, man. Came to play. And we're gonna take. I'm gonna take
Yeah,
a quick
well,
little
very
break,
nice.
and I'll be right back. Sorry
Sure.
about that. Go ahead.
Sounds good.
Okay. We'll be firing our last two matches.
All
And
right.
out of that, we will be having SVV and Blood, whom we all know as Blood Ninja.
Blood has actually been screening hard prior to
Oh yeah.
the mini masters. I watch him and Raging go at it almost every day. Just trying to fine tune their strategy. So I know he's been working really hard for this tournament. And for is that SVV or is it just SW?
I have it as SVV, but you know what? I see the SW, honestly.
Okay. Well, his name is SVV. I don't know much about this player. I mean, what can you tell us about this one?
He is one of Whoop's recommendations here. He's had his eye on SVV for a hot minute. I'm not too familiar if he's an aggro or standard player typically, but I've seen a little bit of his games. Just an incredibly solid player. Really sharp attacks when he wants to lean into that. But I'm very curious to see how he's going to try to crack Blood. Blood usually like a deeply methodical, deep thinker. His defense is so rock solid, especially if he gets like a nice scorpion drop at any point.
Hmm. And Blood, I think one thing I noticed about him is that he has a very good understanding of how mobile beacon works and how positioning works. specifically about getting units to pull other units. I actually asked him a few questions on like why he does certain things. Like for example, if you're getting a rhino into the tower, sometimes he actually pulls the rhino further than a tower itself, or like a steel ball further than a tower itself, where I would normally just put a mobile beacon right there at the tower. And I want to ask him about why he does that. And his answer was if you go further than a tower, then your next target will most likely be the other tower as opposed to some other units that's standing in front of the tower. It's like, that makes total sense.
Interesting.
I've never done something like that. Like to me, I want the tower. Yeah, let's just mobile beacon to the tower and then maybe turn right. Right. But sometimes, as you all know, getting a rhino to the tower and then turn right may cause the rhino to not hit the tower at all. So that is a very sad, sad rhino. All right, we're starting here.
Training spec is interesting. Elite could be interesting. I know a lot of more standard defensive players love to lean into that kind of setup, but training spec is snapped up. And then amplify. Interesting. How do you value amplify spec?
I see it as more of a scaling type of spec. I like them in aggro. I especially like them with spiders or sledgehammers. But in this case, this is a standard unit comp, and he is going to be playing standard. So I wonder where is he going to drop these amp cores? Because in this case, they don't really make too much difference, right? Putting them on storms doesn't really make a difference. On arclights, you kind of get a bit of damage boost, but they chaff clear just as well. So I'm not quite sure this is the right unit pack for the amp specialist.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I feel like these amp cores are a bit of a trap. I always feel like, oh, it's just, it's just like it's an item. It's like laser sights. It's like improved firepower control system. Not really. It's not quite on that scale. And so I think you get caught, or at least I get caught, in these ideas that my board is a lot stronger than I think it, or than it actually is, and I end up getting blown out. And it's actually a specialist that I've been on more recently avoiding, because I feel like I'm more commonly walking into those traps. I don't know if you feel the same way, but Sabretooth is fine, Spider's fine, I imagine, with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see here.
No, it's a tie, round one. Crazy. How often do you see that? Oh, I don't know what my
Yeah.
camera's doing. That's crazy. But laser sights round two being picked up here. Haste module, very nice. Both great items.
So a very standard game, and typically when you want to do standard game, you're looking at ranged units. Phoenix is already on the board, which means SVV will need to have some type of response. So very, very textbook stuff, right? Vertical fans behind horizontal crawlers so that they will come in late. He's not really using all his items. 2 amp cores on the storms just for a little bit of extra damage. And he's holding on to these other 2 items. And they might be Mustangs down the road, or it might be a giant. We'll have to see.
So some interesting stuff there that turn. Blood elects to not level up his steel balls. Goes ahead and unlocks Phoenix and then slams one in the back left corner while also putting on laser sights. Turns out these late arriving fangs are going to be paying off quite well, as they should, assuming the hounds don't take care of them. Do quite well into these phoenixes over here. Ooh,
Well,
but
this
maybe
fans just
not.
needs to all walk in the same. But that's all right, though. I mean, looking at his board here for SVV, because he hasn't ranged the arc lights, he always has the option of getting out of the arc lights and just go straight into Vulcan Marksman. Or even Vulcan Phoenixes in this case, because Marksman might take too many deployments. So it just go plot down 2 Phoenixes and wait for 1 round and then wait for the drop. And if there's a Vulcan drop, you should take it. Oh, there's the Marksman drop. He should take that.
Yeah, windmill slams it. This is
But
probably up
that
there.
Blood is the one taking it.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is probably up there with like one of the best like round 2 drops in the game, right? Like just 4 deploys is so crazy. So much.
Oh, yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
both
So 4
players, yeah.
Marksman here. He does take range on the arc light. Okay, interesting. I mean, I did not expect arc lights to be in range because if you look at Bloodsport, a Vulcan will be great into Hounds. They're also good into Steel Ball. So arc light range seems slightly less optimal.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
And
Not
not to
much
mention
chaff, right?
Vulcan, like Vulcan with a haste module, freaking slaps. Like it just kills everything so quickly. And arc lights
Definitely.
is so it's a questionable tech here.
Yeah, maybe SVV getting caught a little bit in the trap of like round 3, we do want to have range on something. Maybe he thinks Blood's going to go for range on Hounds here. I think the
Yeah.
Arclight range, if like my gut says it should work this round, but I don't
Yeah. But
know.
in the long run,
Yeah, gonna hurt him a little bit.
yeah. And now it's Blood's turn to go Vulcan because he certainly can do that and using Hounds as a chaff.
Yeah, it looks pretty
All
good
right,
here
later
for
arriving fans.
SVV.
Yeah.
Ouch. Big chunk of damage here onto Blood.
All right, we got Instant. Great tech for standards. Efficient tech is also very good, especially for Blood since he hasn't taken any technology so far. All right, first, getting up to the Hounds. Knowing that there's not going to be Vulcan here, so now the Hounds actually deals really well into Arclights.
Yeah, and Hound range is picked up here. This makes perfect sense in my head.
One thing that I think Blood would need to account for is these late arriving fans. Right now, these Hounds still die before the late arriving fans really pop in,
Mm-hmm.
which means the marksman will be shooting at the fans while being shelled by the storms. So if we're up to Blood, if I were Blood, I would probably start putting down Stonecallers.
Yeah, Stormcallers being one of those like great traditional answers for those late arriving things, right? You can always have that option where you take Incen on the storms, and that just creates so many problems for anybody trying to abuse these like late arriving chaff. Oh, nice read here from SVV. Shields up both sides will block the Incen bomb. Minimizes a lot of
Late
damage over there.
arriving, oh yeah. Late arriving Mustangs might also be another play, but we have to be very careful with the timing of when these Arclights die. Last round, we still got few of these Arclights surviving with these late arriving fans. So as you can see, the fans are now walking around these Arclights. And that's when your late arriving Mustangs may not do as well. But yeah, these fans are just really hurting Blood here.
Notably, Blood did unlock Storm Colors here, so should be in a better spot going into round 5, but has taken quite a hit of damage between rounds 2 and 4, or 2 and 5 here. 3x Rhino drop,
I take
another nice one.
Rhino. Rhino is slightly risky because of the triple level 2 marksman here for SCVV, but I get the play. This one protects the crawlers, allowing them to survive a little bit longer, and hopefully, ooh, the sandworm counter to that Rhino, kind of spicy. I would love to see Stormcallers here from Blood. I think overall there is a lack of damage on the board. Now that they're level 2 sledgies, these level 1 marksmen are going to take forever to even finish the sledgies, and also the hounds are going to get stuck on them. So over time, I think, Blood is in a position where he's not scaling and SVV is.
Yeah, I agree completely, especially with these sandworms hitting the field now too. If we didn't have problems killing level 2 sledgies, we're certainly going to have problems killing sandworms. Granted, we do have some level 1 rhinos with armor. And this might help a little bit in the tank role, but I don't know if there's any amount of time that we could buy these marksmen that would be sufficient enough to kill these worms before they kill the marksmen themselves, like right now.
Oof, it's a rough round.
Yeah, this is
And
looking bad.
yeah, and Blood is already down in HP, and he's gonna take another 1,000 damage and down to 1,000. There's not a lot of options for this round for him to get back to this, right? Elite Wasp is an option. Now that this card is offered, take range on the Elite Wasp, you can do quite a bit of damage, even into these sandworms. You can always get a melter, but there's going to be more worms, and you are going to have to spend melters on both sides. Melter also dies pretty hard to these level 2 Stormcallers, so it's very difficult to answer this with Melter. It looks like Blood wants to just answer with balls with range. I
Yeah.
guess it could work. The trick with balls is you need at least 2 squads of crawlers behind it just to be 100% safe that these worms will stay above. And seeing how these worms are now in a clump, which is the classic worm position, the reason you want to put in a clump is they chaff clear super fast, and then they all just go under. These 2 balls might have their work cut out for them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how would you respond this as Blood?
Well, this is where my head was at. I like the idea of the late arriving steel balls, but yeah, I mean the real problem, right, is that in the process of trying to solve our earlier problems, SCV has snowballed that into creating so many other problems to worry about, right? Not only do we have to worry about these sledgehammers, we now have to worry about this worm blender. It's going to have replicate. I don't think there is any unique one answer here that's going to fix this outside of maybe Launcher Overload War Factory, and that is a steep, steep commit.
That is a big commitment, yeah. If Blood survives this round, and it looks like he might, I might actually suggest taking Mechanical Division on Steel Balls. So the reason I like the Mechanical Division is that it actually helps the Steel Balls to self-sustain, allowing the worms to stay above for a bit longer for them to kill it.
Yeah.
But there's not going to be this next round. But if it were, and if you can't afford level 2 war factories, that might be an in-between move. And magnet balls are just super annoying to deal with in the end game.
Yeah, definitely right. Especially if there's any other number of techs being added on to the crawlers themselves, be it like Subterranean Blitz, right, or even Loose. Suddenly, those mech div balls are just the time to kill on them is infinite, right? Outside of like maybe double shot Scorpion, killing the crawler prac immediately afterwards. But you know, it's a tough spot to be in once that gets rolling. But that was
Oh,
game
for
one.
sure.
We going into game two here in just a moment. I hope what we saw out of Blood that last game was a little bit of the willies. He's able to shake it off, recenter, refocus, and take this one the distance. At least give us a game three. That's what I really want to see. I want to see some game threes.
I know Block can do it. He is an
Yeah.
extremely solid player. He just needs to, get it together and get the right counter. Or, as a wise man once said, if you want to win Mechabellum, you just need to click the right buttons.
Yeah. Just click the good buttons and
That's
don't
all you
click
got
the
to do. You
bad
just got to
buttons.
click the right buttons. Don't click the bad buttons. That's right.
uh, yeah. I was talking about this with Ragen earlier, no midweek, is that Blood is one of those players that when he is on, man, he is so hard to beat. And I'm hoping that loss kind of shakes him awake, gets him recentered, refocused. Um, he's a player that can bounce back. I think he is a player that the longer a set goes, the more comfortable he's going to be. So I'm hoping we see that
Hmm.
in game two.
Also, I'd like to see some aggro plays coming in from him. I know he can play aggro. He's done it in 2v2s. I've seen him play good control of tempo. And, I think last game was just a little bit too nuanced. The response to the Sandworms was a little bit delayed, and that just got out of hand. But really nice play from SVV. I've never seen him play before, so this is a real treat.
Yeah, I felt like he had a great read on the board, and his attack was really sharp. He leveraged. I felt like he really leveraged that round three arc light range and the tempo granted from that into a really lethal attack. So it was pretty cool to see that. Cost control, usually a contentious pick, especially when like money and accolade is on the line. But interesting, SVV picking up another Stormcaller starter. Feels comfortable with it.
All right, Miso Spec. Now, with cost control, you do have a lot of money to spend, of course, and you can really control the flow of the game, at least in the beginning, for a little bit. This is going to be a classic Arclight Sabertooth with 2 packs of Crawler type of build. The real kicker for end of this round is just going to be how well the Stormcaller is going to land, and it's probably going to be pretty good into level 1 Sabers. As a matter of fact, I feel like SVV is so confident. He's like, I don't need chaff clear. There's not going to be a crawler problem here. We just need to kind of get them stuck on his fence and we'll clean them up with storms.
Mm-hmm. And, this is a dynamic that definitely favors the Stormcaller player, at least in the early rounds, right? There is a potential where Blood, especially as the cost control specialist here, could lean into more Sabertooth and go for an early AM play. And And that could buy him some tempo, right? And we saw how SVV was able to leverage some quick tempo early on to a nice game win. Maybe Blood has something similar up his sleeve. Oh, Sabretooth's locked on the tower. Here it comes. Boom! It's a nice little timing. Chunk of damage getting in. Oh, takes out the marksman too.
Yeah, not bad. So here's an interesting idea for that first tech on the Sabretooth. Instead of AM, which costs 150, and because you're cost control, you get a crap ton of money, what if you take field maintenance? You still do the same thing, which is tanking Stonecaller shots, but at the same time, you're not overcommitting because your opponent could just sell the Stonecallers. And with field maintenance, you can still use your Sabretooth for whatever other units that your opponent might throw on it.
Yeah, it's a great idea, especially coming into something like a Farseer, right? I think field maintenance is such a wonderful tech on Sabretooth, right? Because the body of the unit itself is such a stat check, right? It's I will eventually get you, but can you get me before I get you, right? It is a big stupid pile of HP, a really big attack, but at a slow interval. And you know, it's a big DPS check, right? And there isn't many significant forms of, I think, single target damage on SVV's board right now. And I think the round 2 could put him in a little bit of hot water, right? Farseer is picked up from both players, usually a windmill slam, but it does give more idea, at least in my head, to this idea of maybe getting in a cheeky little missile interceptor play. I'll be honest though, Stoney, where I thought you were going initially before you mentioned field maintenance was side guns. And I was gonna be, I was gonna say, you've got my attention.
Saigon,
You've got my attention, man.
Saigon typically works better if they're more medium-sized units, but right now there just isn't.
That's true.
So there's not even an Arclight on this board, so I can't really recommend that tech. But healing though, like imagine if this round we had healing and all those 3 Saber just tank for days. That would have been a pretty sweet play. But you're right, with Farseer, I mean, AM becomes a bit more useful. One thing I don't like about AM is just that it can get baited very easily, so your
100%.
opponent just starts selling out of these storms.
Yeah, it would
All
be like
right,
a
for
3-round
blood,
turn or a 3-turn play, right? But what were you saying? Sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say, like for blood, there's a few opportunities. The first opportunity being cost control. You have the extra cash to actually be a little bit wasteful on your devices, right? So one thing I was kind of noticing, there's no chaff clear for SVV except those fans. So if he wants, he could set up like he could just put 2 missiles down. All of a sudden, there's no chaff clear for this board, and there's not even. Oh, here's the AM, right? I was gonna say like put a missile down on the left hand side, just put some crawlers, 2 packs of crawlers, and just run it over. Nothing will stop those crawlers.
Yeah, I remember way back when we were doing some of our earlier casts, you mentioned this exact thing, which is that cost control should be hammering out missiles. Like often, almost every
Yes.
round. And it totally changed how I approach that specialist. I still approach it with that mindset, like quick tech pivots and a lot of sentries. Like I'm looking for that 200, 300 missile that's gonna wreck one side of your board. And I'm gonna get you with it, and I'm gonna make you respect it. You know, if I'm cost control, I'm gonna make you pay for it. And yeah, no, I really love that kind of play, and I completely agree. I think that's what I would really like to see more out of Blood here.
You played Red Alert 2 back in the days.
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So in the Soviet army, there's this unit called Crazy Ivan, which is like a suicide bomber, and it
Mhm.
goes around and install bombs on buildings.
Mhm.
That's how I imagine the cost control specialist headshot should be. It's just like Crazy Ivan. He comes in, you take loans, you be financially irresponsible, but you do the most unhinged plays because he got so much extra money.
Yep.
And just being all stupid and crazy all the time. I love cost control.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's how it should be played. You just get crazy with it. Make your opponent go, really? He clicked that button?
Yeah.
Smoke bomb is
All
so
right. I think Blood,
devastating.
yeah, for aggro player, there's no defense on that.
No,
So
you eat it.
he was already down. Yeah, he'll eat it. He was already down. Right now, the chaff clear is even worse. Good thing though, he does have AM, so he solves a lot of damage problem. The Surrey beacon is going to cause some grief because those crawler will actually survive for days.
Yeah, that's one of those
But then more
things
sabers coming down.
that you need to missile ahead of the crawlers. It's a little deceptive. You end up missiling where they're at, you don't kill the whole pack, and it gets really obnoxious to kill.
All right, the first real chaff clear coming down for SVV. He's got 100 supply left over. Will he shield? The shield is almost guaranteed to be broken because of the saber tooth. They do a lot of damage. So no shield. I'm surprised he's not selling out of the storms just yet. Okay, well, level 2 marksman, pretty good into big sabers.
Okay, we'll snipe the tower on the left-hand side with a nice little crawler flank. Really couldn't have come at a better time. These units on the right sneak around the smoke and start to rain a bunch of damage down on the side. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, on the onset of that round, it did not look like Blood was going to win that, but it was a nice little maneuver there, and that crawler flank really paid dividends there.
All right, Fire Badger. I think that's a great unit. Boats. Mr. Blood here, already taking range. Feeling very confident with his chaff clear. And also his mid unit clear. Boats can be a little dangerous for SVV, considering there's already a lot of AM on the board. So instead, it took the Void Eyes. It just needs more damage.
Okay,
Not a cheeky move.
yeah, I really love what Blood's doing here. A nice missile too. It's going to remove the Fang pack protecting it. I imagine we see a level up here, but a level 1 boat kills a level 2 tower in 2 volleys. It's not as safe as one might think.
All right, so this is where the first time in tonight's tournament, we're going to see some carry Void Eyes with range and charge shot designed specifically kill those saber tooths.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
they do a lot of damage. AK per shot. That's a one volley per one level 1 saber tooth. So that is concerning.
I mean, granted, it's a level 2 marksman. But this level 3 Void Eye, which has more HP, yeah, is doing almost double. Well, not quite, but like 40% more than a level 2 marksman here. So yeah, he's got some great single target and good missed. Dude, he
Oh,
jumped
just
from the
got
Void Eye
deleted.
and it's gone, dude. But once again,
All right,
maybe
now
this
it's
tower
all coming
timing's
down
good
to the
enough.
chaff here. All these fans are doing a lot of work.
Oh, and these boats live. This is a good chunk of damage. That's what Blood needs to be doing. Puts SVV in realistically gutshot territory if it all goes well for Blood one round. Efficient giant manufacturing. Yes, sir.
Smash that button.
Yeah. I don't think Blood saw the rest of the pack.
Mass Pro Sledge would be interesting for Blood, I think, if he wants to go with just a lot of bodies on the ground for his Void Eyes to clear. If you put them vertically, these Void Eye will kind of have to force to shoot one at a time, and that could be problems. So right now, Blood is in a position to scale really hard with his boats, but he does need chaff clear. And he does not run AG on his boat, so he's not able to chaff clear himself very efficiently. And he's running into Vulcan Marksman. So this could be good, it could be bad. We're gonna have to see. Oof.
You know, I think I'd rather be the boat player here. Boats, very good into these kind of Vulcan setups. Granted, there is some good single target damage in SVV's future by going stuff like best partner or, you know, double shot or AA on these marksmen.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I think one
Oil.
critical thing to notice. Oh yeah, it's gonna this is a mutually assured destruction here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say one interesting to note is the health bar of SVV. I think in the long run, Vulcan Marksman outscales boats. But in the short run, if you can get enough of these quick wins with the high-tech boats, you could just end the game before they finish the comp.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like this is exactly what's going to happen. We're going to get to that tower. We got 3 boats left over. Man, that's another, what is it? 1,300 damage?
That might
And
be
with this
game.
chaff left over? Oh, that is...
No.
No, one more.
Oh, that's
It's
so
close.
brutal. It was a beautiful oil.
Improved Wasp. It's got to be improved Wasp, right?
He slams deployment module. It makes sense. He's gonna make SVV or guess on this last round. That it's exactly what I would do. Change up the attack.
Please tell me you're going to put down like 8 missiles. There's the melter. Double. You know, it's so interesting looking at this board from SVV. Yes, he's got some Vulcans at the front, but his left-hand side until now was still completely with no chaff clear. Like chaff clear was just not a priority this game for SVV.
Wow, what an interesting little beacon there. Knows that the fire is going to come down and would normally kill that pack of crawlers, so he's going to send it flanking far left. Okay, bunch of wasps coming down, and another boat. I believe this is an attempt to read the melter play. It's a good one. It's a good read.
It is a good read.
Has a wasp swarm also coming in here. And Vulcan already under threat. It's going to go down so fast. See ya. The left-hand side as well. That's a
Right,
level
boats
2
down
boat.
tower. Down tower. And
See
it
ya.
goes.
The melter's not long for this world either. Yep.
Yeah, and that's
And
going to be it. Now we're actually going to get a best of 3.
yeah, blood. I don't mean to show my biases, but I'm so excited to see a game 3. It's also just a really good game. Blood made some very nice moves there at the end that I think really put the tempo back in his favor.
Oh, for sure. Like he knows exactly what he needs to do. There's no more time wasted on getting more chaff units on the ground. It doesn't need chaff clear. He's just putting pressure on a single tower and needs to end this in 2 turns. For
100%.
SVV, one thing that I didn't understand was that the Vulcan has been very exposed for about 2 rounds. His only chaff were really just these fangs. The crawlers don't really run up fast enough to provide cover for these Vulcans, so it was a bit of a pickle, right? Because he took incendiary instead of range, so he had to. Yeah, it was very expensive for him to go even further than that.
But I think
And
we've
once the
seen,
Vulcans are dead, that's all the chaff clear.
yeah, that's all the chaff clear, and that's all she wrote, right? Once those boats get to do whatever they want to do, it's pretty brutal. But I think both players have now demonstrated that they're very capable and very competent in demonstrating these like really sharp attacks that'll kill you very fast.
Hmm.
So game three, I think it might come down to the tempo of it all, and they're ready to go. They want it.
I think this is the blood I know, the aggro blood. I would love to see another aggro game from him. I think he played really well last game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really hoping for like an 11 round slugfest. That would be sweet. Um, I think both of these players now probably have a good read on one another and probably are giving each other a little bit more respect moving forward. Um,
Hmm.
this might be one of those scenarios where it might really kind of come down to like one drop giving one of the players like a +2 +3% like advantage, like a really slim advantage, and maybe that player using that small advantage to snowball it into better things.
Hmm. Last game, it was interesting that SVV went for the melters. He was setting up for Vulcan marksman, but he never really teched the marksman. There was no AA right in the playbook here. And he already had marksman on the board. So I was thinking, like, instead of getting the melter, would he have been better off if he went with maybe AA Mustangs or just range Mustangs? The wasps are coming. I mean, when you're into a bow player, the wasps are coming. It's just a matter of time. Why not set yourself up for the Mustangs and just kind of go harder into the marksman?
Yeah, no, I
Maybe he was
completely
just,
agree here. I think the
yeah,
idea that he might have been having, right, is that Mustangs might be a little redundant with the Vulcans, but it turns out like Melter is just a trap into boat. Or at least that's my opinion. Mustang is certainly
it
the
was
better
very
answer.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the Mustangs. Make sure you get the Wasp here, and just get AA marksman. Get level 2 AA marksman, and they do a tremendous amount of damage to boats. But anyways, we're starting the third game of the best of 3. Missile spec got picked. An aggro pack with steel balls and crawler by blood. And what will SVV pick? We got some aggro packs. We got some standard packs,
Yeah, I was gonna say
and it's
he's
going to be
been
a standard
demonstrating the
pack.
storms, so I was thinking it was the elite. But this is a tough elite pack, right? There's no chaff. So this might be a tough spot moving forward here for TV. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're playing Elite, you would love to see a pack with crawlers or fans, so that way you don't have to buy these super expensive blue guys. But at least for the first 2 rounds, blue crawlers can do quite a lot of damage.
They're pretty unkillable, that's true.
Like Elite is the hardest starting from round 2 to about round 6. If you can survive after that, then you're in a pretty happy spot because after round 7, everything that you buy is just fantastic. And you can go with crazy things like level 3 Mustangs, right? Level 3 Wraith, one of my favorite, and just throw your opponent off. liking that extra flanking crawler in case. Ah, it's kind of going back to the center. I was gonna say, in case he's headbutting, and the crawler will actually do pretty well.
I do like it just being one arc light, though. I think that's a brilliant read, right? Um, Blood noticed how the Stormcallers have been set up every game now, so I think he has a read on what SVV wants to do, or at least likes to do. And I gotta be honest, this feels almost like an answer to that idea, right? This is Blood making a very curated deployment to answer that.
Oh, look at the storms landing some pretty juicy shots. Oh, this is actually a really great spot for Blood to be in. We got crawlers coming in on those storms. We still have steel balls left over. We still have arc light left over. It's just a really like you shouldn't be winning this hard into blue crawlers triple arc lights.
Yeah, that's a chef kiss, man. That was like I really feel like Blood had that on read, like on a hard read here. That was so nice. And he gets missile strike here now. So that dubious round one is now going to be met with shields. But do you actually want to shield into steel ball? Not really.
It's a steel ball. Ah. Because some phoenixes now supplementing the steel balls. Blood is saying, I'm not too worried about chaff clear at this moment. We know you're elite and it hurts you to build blue chaff. Then it does hurt me.
Both players respecting the round two Phoenix. Love to see it. This was a mainstay of last patch. This unit did get nerfed today. But I think old habits die hard on this one. Still want to play Phoenix, and I don't blame them. This missile's going to be very nice for Blood. Boom. Wow, those Phoenixes doing quite a bit of work here, taking out these steel ball packs. That tower does go down. Means that these Phoenixes will be exposed, and an XP pinata for Blood's own Phoenixes.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of round two Phoenixes, I think there is a bit of a psychological play here because they see that each other's board has no anti-air, so they might just want to get the unit down to scam them. Vulcan gets instant picked. It's a great unit into both steel balls and crawlers. Not sure about Vulcan in aggro position though. They might be too far off to. Yeah, you're gonna really have to put them forward.
Whoa!
That's like on the line, Vulcan. That's very brave.
With Scorch, no less. I is this Blood saying, okay, I get it, I can't kill your crawlers, but I mean I can do this. Okay, he's walking it back. He's thinking about it. A lot of controls used here.
All right, we got our first flank here. I think SVV also has an opportunity with steel balls and it's a distraction crawler in the flank, so you can get that level 2 tower. I'm actually liking SVV's position in this moment. But I would like it even more if you can put a distraction fan or a crawler behind those phoenixes so that the Vulcan will walk forward and then the crawlers will hit back. But Vulcan on the defense is way better than Vulcan on the offense.
Very true. And this looked like a board state that SVV was trying to navigate into, at least in the last game, right? He seems very comfortable with this idea of Vulcan Marksman. So I think he's getting a lot of nice signals here. That level 1 Vulcan drop was a good little pickup. Okay, Vulcan on the offense, doing its thing. Some steel balls locked on, but not good enough. Power timing does occur here. Is it going to be meaningful? I don't think so. This is a level 2 Vulcan, pretty damn hard to kill.
Yep. And also level 2 marksman shooting at that Vulcan. It should be bringing their health down to about the same. And it's gone.
And it's gone. But does scam out the round with that little flank play and the lovely little Phoenix dance here.
All right, aside from that little scam, but I feel like SVB's board is starting to stabilize. Intensive training is offered. Getting one of those Vulcan to level 2 would be huge.
Oh, I love this. You think I'm gonna sell out of these Phoenixes, do you? Nah, I'm just gonna deck you again. I love these plays that keep your opponent so honest. The expectation, right, is that the metagame is that your opponent will do this, get one flank out of you, and sell it off. And Blood's in a spot where he can gamble a little bit, right? He's got a good amount of HP. He can make these kind of decisions and see how it pans out. And I love it. I think this is great. Because if this works, this tower goes down super fast. And these Phoenixes get a lot of work done on the right side.
Oh, this is like straight scamming SVB with those Phoenixes. But he's returning the favor, but it would not work because he does not have range on those Phoenixes. Oh,
Okay.
here's the defense.
Very smart.
Yeah, I think Blood is doing way better this round because of the range on the Phoenixes. They are instantly locking onto the Vulcan and starting to bring them down. However, level 2 Phoenixes are no slouch, and with the level 2 marksman, they're still clearing all the chaff clear and now moving forward.
Yeah. Phoenixes shooting crawlers is not a great feeling. But we'll take out a good chunk of the damage here. Nonetheless, though, takes about 700 points of damage there. We go into a round 5 unit drop, 2 X Mustangs, 1 boat, some Phantom Rays. There's some interesting pickups here. I think there's merit to the really everything for Blood and SVV here. But Mustangs are going to be the pickup. Mustangs and a Scorpion.
I feel like, yeah, the Scorpion. I feel like the Blood is getting baited into focusing on these big Vulcans at the front. I mean, it's a very easy solvable problem, which is putting chaff at the front. His chaff clear is really not that strong. You got a single Scorpion, I mean, single Arclight, and a single Vulcan, which dies to these high level Phoenixes and Marksmen. Ooh, both looking to cheese a little bit.
Does that Scorpion get onto the left tower? I think it does.
Might be close, but all he needs is a hit on the crawler. I think the splash would get to the tower. We'll see. I like the Wasp play though, but not into the blue Mustang. So that is a bit of a risk.
A little unfortunate, yeah. Wow. Okay. Nice little missile here on the right. Remove some crawlers.
Ooh, didn't
Oh, not quite.
Scorpion did not get tower. Yeah.
Scorpion says, "See ya, you that Vulcan." Power timing should be coming in here for blood, but I don't think it's going to be in a meaningful time frame. No, it's not. Should be able to clean up a good chunk of the forest still in the end. Keep it relatively small. SVV is going about this methodically to even out this game and has about done so. Ion Blast, okay.
It'll be interesting for both. Stonk module. I think Stonk module might not be too bad for SVV. He seems to be swapping out of the Phoenixes into the Marksman just for the range fight. So now he's selling the Phoenixes and putting the Stonk back onto the Mustang. So good play, making some money there. I would love for him to exploit the emptiness of the left-hand side tower. Good missile.
Oh, yeah, these are little lines that you should be looking for when you are in that missile spec. You have basically a nice little point removal of taking out some chaff, and sometimes it's old that's protecting a tower. Sometimes it's like a pack of Mustangs, sometimes a pack of Wasps, but you know, that little cheeky missile figures the way. This should, I think. Maybe there's a couple things left over, but
Great play with the Mustangs. That Phoenix actually serves a dual purpose. So because he took Quantum, he needs a safety Phoenix for all the other ones to teleport to. So that left side Phoenix was supposed to be a safety Phoenix, but now it's going to get shut down by the Blue Mustangs. Maybe we'll see. I mean, the Mustang seems to be running into that missile, so we'll probably end up with like just 4 Mustangs, which is not really enough to kill 2 Phoenixes. No, it's more than
this
4.
Ion
8.
Blast should be devastating on the right-hand side. It should kill this Marksman, those Mustangs,
Yeah.
and this Vulcan. Or at least help contribute killing the Vulcan.
Yeah, it's good. All of a sudden, there is no big damage here left for SVV.
Or yeah, at the
There's
very
still a pack
least,
of Mustangs running around.
no efficient way to deal with these quantum reassembling phoenixes. This tech for a long time was so panned, and it's like kind of bubbled up and become really annoying to deal with.
Another Stonk module.
Okay, it's a skim.
Redeployment might be interesting too for Blood. Just kind of get Phoenixes out of the harm's way without selling them. Poof. Is this time to end the game?
Whoa!
Or just putting a lot of pressure here? Nope, change his mind. God bless undo button.
Yeah, true.
I mean, wouldn't be a terrible idea.
I
Right now, SPV just does not have the output, right?
I know I loved it. I think he should do it.
Yeah, I think he should do it too.
Me?
Yeah, I like that too.
Oh my god, dude. He's so annoying. He's like, I'm gonna get you tower, dude, this entire time. And SPV has been playing
I
around
was
it.
hoping SPV would do it. I was hoping he would do it with the missile.
It's gonna get the tower, and it's gonna be a really nice round. Doink.
But the Mustangs, though, they're putting in a whole lot of work here.
Oh yeah.
The Vulcan may survive before it kills the. Oh no, we got EM on the marksman, so really slowing them down. So all things considered, that tower timing wasn't all that meaningful.
Ooh, actually gonna lose the round? Uh-oh.
And it's gonna lose it pretty hard too.
Yeah, uh-oh. That's not good. We get a off the cuff tower timing and get crushed. E. Not great. Underground
Yeah,
threat?
not great. Underground is great for SPV. There's virtually no defense except 2 missiles, but these towers are level 2, so it will take a while. For Blood, I think you can use a bit of distraction to kind of keep units from getting to the tower. And here's the car. Yeah, that one
Bait.
should have been the play last round. And I also would love to see a single AM device. I feel like these storms are doing a lot of damage, especially now that you're putting big units down.
And I think in this scenario
But
we want
EM, though,
photon on the
yeah,
factory.
you will want photon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Otherwise, you get EM and your factory don't really move anywhere. But instead, it's just going to be range. Okay.
Hey,
So
we
not using it as a big tank.
Yeah, it looks like we're angle shooting for another tower again. And no, I mean, here's the
Yeah.
deal. It looks like a good angle. And this is a great unit into the board. But Blood realistically has like 1 or 2 more rounds after this to basically play this game. This is basically moving
Well,
your
we'll see how
chips
good
all
this tower
in.
timing is.
Yeah,
Yeah, you see this EM? Yeah, EM is
immediately shut it
huge
down.
here. Oof. And it's not just shutting down the war factory, it's shutting down all these Vulcans on the other side too. And once the Vulcans are down, there's nothing stopping these anti-air Mustangs from killing the Phoenixes. So yes, you got a tower timing, but it's not meaningful at all. There's nothing left to actually deal the damage.
This war factory is rolling over to the left-hand side.
Ooh, can you get tower though? And he can.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's a level 3 war factory. Not the damage you
That's
want to be
scary.
doing, but it's a start.
I think it's time to start putting crawlers down the flank to do a bit of distraction. EM is good. Maybe photons on the menu. All right, Melter. You would expect Melter, right?
Yeah, where my head would go.
Okay, so photon is the right play. Not having crawlers on the flanks is not very good.
Gonna dive on the right-hand
It
side.
makes me sad. Makes me sad. Earlier we talked about how slow the Vulcans turn. I would love to have crawlers on the side there.
Oh yeah, especially against this like marksman melter Mustang. Like not great options for crawlers. Let's just split the chaff wave back here behind this tower. Do some really tricky stuff.
So what do you think of this gut shot? Do you think the War Factory will get in there?
It's desperate, man. I
It
don't
is
think it
desperate.
I don't think it does. Especially if oil is thrown up
You
in
get
front of this
stuck on
tower.
chaff, I think.
Really brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's barely like clearing out that 2 squads of crawler and then it gets locked on.
Blood is fortunate that he got the guess right. The melter is in the wrong spot for a potential war
Yeah,
factory would
it's tower on the
be.
other side. Yep.
It has latched
So this
on.
war factory will survive, I think.
Okay.
Yep.
Whew.
Still, it's a tough play because the war factory will die, and there's still a melter left.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of those scenarios where I think once SVB has turned the page, it's really hard for him to lose the game. There's certain spells that might be able to turn the tide, but a unit drop should only really shore this up further for the defensive player. Triple sledgehammer deployment, not bad, pretty good
Triple
into.
sledgehammers on the flank will actually be really good in holding back these melters. Because that's all you need. You need to hold back some melters and pull some crawlers towards the back corner so that your war factories can get to tower. So it's not about putting more of them on the front. Like you need them on the side.
Does he go for launcher overload? That's where my head would be going right now. If we're gonna battle factory, we should just commit to the bit and try to see it through. I think it's too late to waffle a bit. There's
It's
more
got
melters
tanks
coming
on the
down.
shallow flank. Steel ball production. Not sure about that. Into Scorch Vulcans.
Yeah, and there's now a Vulcan basically for every chaff pocket. There's now a melter covering every angle to the towers. It's a tough spot to be for blood. There is an ion blast that's going to do a good chunk of work, but the question is it enough? I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah. The sledge is, yeah, the shallow flank sledge runs directly into Scourge Vulcan, right? And that's where you don't want your sledge to run into. You want them to be running into the melting point. However, if they are clearing out these fire spots, oh, they can get tower. That's pretty big.
And there,
Except at the right hand side, there's nothing left. So there may be something. I mean, the steel balls are producing. The phoenixes are kind of doing their thing. And the war factories are folding onto this melter. Oh, this is actually really good.
oh,
Not enough
it's
to
not
kill.
enough, man. Oh,
Not enough to kill. He has another opportunity to start dropping level 2 sledgehammers in that corner. And I think he needs to do that. Otherwise, the melters would just keep walking front. There's nothing, as you can see, there's nothing really in front of these war factories. And now another Vulcan goes down to deal with the shadow flank sledgy. Oof.
and this is not what you want to see if you're blood, right? You wanted that game to end. You wanted this game to end last round.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah,
round
pretty
for the
much.
melter player is a disaster.
And he also doesn't run efficient maintenance, which means he's bleeding
He's
300. Was it 300 or 400?
400, yeah, eating so much
400
money.
every round.
He's loaned the
Yeah.
last three. He's minus. He's minus like 2,100 credits right now. It's pretty brutal out
He's so
here.
broke. All right, we got level 1 steel balls. He actually sold the high level Mustangs in that corner to use the stomp module into that middle. I mean, that could be an opportunity because we see more wasp being added in. So I mean, there might be an opportunity. This is like level 4 Mustangs with AA, so they kill this really fast.
This is the gut shot, though, right? Is to pray that the Mustangs aren't there, run those wasps in,
Oh,
pray the latch isn't good, and it's not good.
could be good.
Okay,
It might be good.
we got some good work
Oh
factors doing
no!
it. They're
Oh,
getting
it's
in.
coming in. It's coming in. The steel balls are making
Oh, the
crawlers.
tower goes
Tokens are
down.
dead. The tower goes down. We still got phoenixes left over. And now we got a single crawler shooting at steel balls that makes crawlers. A single melting point shooting steel balls.
It looks
Oh,
good. I think Blood's got it. Yeah, that's a huge
I think let's
debuff.
got this.
Oh, yeah. Wow, crazy set from both players. SVB really trying so hard, fighting tooth and nail to maintain his board state there at the end. But Blood got a little bit too tricky with the Wasp play there at the end. A little bit of a
Oh
gamble,
yeah.
but I mean, hey, every good game involves a little bit of gambling, I feel like.
I think it was just a little too greedy selling out of those high level Mustangs. I know he wants to get the money, but those Mustangs were actually pretty important part of that army. Whew. Well, very well done. All right, so that is that for tonight's tournament. Um, so who do we have for winners tonight?
Right now, we actually have one more game in progress, and that is Roxas and Die. But right now, Red Scare 2-0 over Mr. Bitter. We have Park 2-0 over Fort Build. Codafly 2-0 over Dead Eagle. Ignatius Pennyfeather 2-0 over Ragin. Odyssey 2-0 over Odds 01. And Coldfire versus Doxon here was 2-1 in Coldfire's favor. So tight game. And SBV versus Blood here was 2-1 in Blood's favor, as we just saw. We do have one more quick game. I think they're on game 3 right now. If you want to catch that, if you are
Yeah,
ready to get off. Okay, no, that's totally
hop
fine.
over. No, I want to hop over. So I want to see. Emerald. Oh no, I have Rojas. Let's go.
Okay. Rojas is
Rounds.
doing Wasp Rhino shenanigans again. You love to see it.
I love the spoiled. I mean, look at the health here. We're at round 6, and they're like 2,700 and 4,500. But this is gonna turn ugly really fast. Like Dai has no damage on this board, and there's the damage in the form of level 2 forts.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know
that'll
if
do
the
it.
level 2 forts is actually good. I mean, I guess he's got launcher, so he can deal with the Rhino.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the what probably ends up being the play, right, is we're missing out these crawlers so that the port's insta locking onto the Rhino here, but I'm not quite sure how Guy is feeling about defending against this. It's a precarious spot to be in, man. These rhinos are dangerously fast.
They are. Good thing they don't have Whirlwind yet, so chaff clear is not great.
True.
And once the rhinos die, these Mustangs will make short work of these wasps. All right, first rhino arriving at tower. Great. Oh, goodbye, Mustangs.
That fort is going to get evaporated underneath that tower debuff. They're big wasps.
Oh.
There is another level 2 fort.
Yeah,
There's
and he can
2
also take
level 2
ground
forts
spec,
with
but
absorption module? Hello?
yeah, that's pretty insane. I Dice got the right comp with the forts because forts. Oh, actually, click on his forts. He does not run AA, so air is going to be a problem. He's got the carry fort build with the elite marksman.
Scorpions.
Taking a
Okay.
Scorpion for the asset, and then it's gonna take Rhino with Photon. Ground spec on the Wasps. Yeah, the forts AA is gonna be a problem. But I feel like with the fort standing, you just need like an extra pack of Mustangs with AA, right? Behind the fort. Right now, these Mustangs are completely untapped.
That would be my inclination, yeah. AA should give him that preferential
Okay.
targeting. They should be doing they sit back behind. But actually, what? Elite Marksman, Fortress.
What? How is that better than Launcher Overload in this juncture? I don't get it.
Guy's taking us on a ride, man, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's a strange tag for the first tag. Like any other tag, minus range, you don't need that. But any other tag could be pretty good.
Wow. This push looks like it was completely stuffed on the right side. Well, at least on the left side. Tower is going to go down, but Rojas does get a nice little wasp maneuver here. But I'm afraid there isn't going to be enough to punch through what's left. There is a worm still underground, and these wasps are getting torn up. They killed the worm. That's crazy. And Die putting on the pressure here. Putting Rojas in, I would say, gut shot territory, in a spot you don't really want to be in. One round, really, realistically, it's good enough here. Is all Die needs. Big spell offered up an electromagnetic blast.
Yeah, that's gonna hit everything in that flank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you can get that far off the map.
I didn't know that either. This might actually be the game. He just needs the yeah, not the great time to hit an extra tech on your rhinos with the EM. I just realized Roja has triple mobile beacon.
I mean, both players kind of getting what they want here, huh? This is pretty crazy from pretty crazy lines from both players, right? EM blast into this little flank, then triple mobile beacon.
Oh,
Oh, the
everything just gets
Rhino!
destroyed.
Oh, he gets the tower with his explosion.
It gets the tower. Ah, another wasp coming in, but we have some level 3 Mustangs with AA. Can they do it? Might be able to do it.
Yeah, I don't think Rojas dies
Oh,
here. Actually,
oh,
he's gonna
I
scan him
don't think
around
Roja
now.
dies here.
Oh,
That was something. I thought the EM would have done a lot on that flight there, but no, still winning. his super heavy armor. I'm surprised Roha didn't take it instead of going for photon. Does he not run photon on his rhinos?
No, he
He does run
does.
photon.
Yeah.
So why take an extra photon? And he gets photon. What? Oh, it's for the wraith so that it tanks the Mustang
Okay.
shots. But wouldn't super heavy armor be even better?
Yeah, I would think so, right? Surely super heavy is better than
Yeah.
the damage mitigation. Maybe it's a mental math thing. Rojas didn't think he had the 250. It doesn't look like he did.
Okay. It's on level 1 Rhino. Upgrades it with enhance. Not enhance, the intensive training. I think it's I can't really tell. I mean, last round I thought Rojas was for sure not gonna do too well, but you scammed around out of it.
Steel balls. Can they kill that rhino? Oh, destroys everything on that back right flank.
Well, I guess that Wraith is doing great for a tank.
Still going, man. Tower is wide
But
open.
eventually the Mustangs is gonna eventually the Mustang is gonna outscale the Wasp, right?
I would.
There's no way these Mustangs don't outscale the Wasps.
With that tower timing,
Yeah.
it's going to be
And these
nice.
Wasps are super dead. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh Jesus.
no way. Okay, there's a marksman. Okay. I was
And
about
it's
to
still
say,
Marksman.
dude.
I think he should just put a shield right in the middle where that orange Mustang is gonna be. And that would be it. Oh wait, but then again, it's ground spec walls when they are great shield breakers. What is it, level 7 now? Level 7, level 8. And remember, he's got jump drive. So at any given time, probably this turn, he can jump those wasps to anywhere else. And
Oh,
speaking
you
of the
called
devil,
it, man. Yeah. Hey, I'm over here
and
now.
I will probably I will probably sell that raid too and buy another level 2 raid just to push the other tower. What did he sell? He did sell something.
Hmm. I didn't quite catch it. I think it might have been a scorpion.
Yeah, he had a scorpion on the flank.
But oh my goodness, this pack, level 7, level 8, and level 3 with a level 2 rhino out in front, perhaps maybe even 2. This is gonna be scary, man. It's a build of yesteryear Rhino Wasp. And this left flank is gonna get over here, man.
And the Mustang got distracted. Ooh.
Right tower
Okay, we
wide
got
open
some
though.
Mustangs shooting, but the Mustangs are coming back. All the balls on the tower, and that's gonna be it for those wasps. Yep. And that's
Oh
also gonna be it for Rojas, I
no.
think. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
too
lot of
many. And then
damage.
Mustangs eventually. Like level 4, now level 5 Mustangs. Just too difficult. Yeah. Good game
Nice
though.
try, you Rojas. It was cool to see the idea being presented there with the Rhino Wasp play. It's always fun to see.
Yeah. He needed to win like 3 rounds ago, but I think the absorption for it was just a little too much. At some point, you just can't even kill it properly. Like this level 3 absorb for it. How are you gonna deal with that? Not with rhinos, you don't.
Nope, not with Rhinos. Not at all.
Oh. All right. Well,
Uh,
I think that wraps up for tonight.
yeah, that's it. Stony, thank you so much for joining me. It was a blast
My
chatting with you
pleasure.
again and casting some games with you again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you around.
All right, Stony. Talk to you later and see you next week. Twitch chat! That was a lot of fun. We will be checking that out again next week. Same time, same place, same streams, same face. I'll be raiding you guys off to somebody in the Mechabellum streaming category. Probably the mumbo jumbo. Once again, huge shout outs. Make some quick little shout outs before I kill the stream. Shout outs to Stony, Amarok, Alpha Titan, Free For All, Whoop GG, Belco's Drake, Uncle Lazy, Mecha Sam, Mr. Bitter for a sick set against Red Scare. Check it out. And shout outs to the players, all of you guys, for showing up and being a part of the production. Literally can't do it without you. Always a lot of fun. But y'all take it easy, and we'll be around probably for a midweek. I'm probably gonna take tomorrow off to not cast the tournaments because Path of Exile came out and I'm gonna be playing that shit, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, we'll be around for the midweek probably, and then we'll be back Friday next week for Mini Masters again with Stony. Cheers, everybody.